Hey, we're live. Live on the YouTubes. I see Adam's back in the library again.
Let me know if it's too dark.
Did we scare you away from our studio?
Been too dark.
You came in that one time and then...
It's the smell. It looks great. It's just the smell.
Chris, what did I tell you about that?
Dude.
We got to come up with a segment where we can respond to people's comments on the previous episode.
Yeah, that's kind of...
Those look good.
That's what Patrick Michael does.
Does he?
Works out really well for him.
Uh-oh.
To go through and respond to every comment.
Never mind
that he gets.
Not
No. What do you got? What do you got? Some comments you want to respond to?
I got a lot of people talking to me about how they went hunting and they would bite the liver or whatever that was. And I just felt...
Army Hammer said heart. But yeah, I did see
heart, whatever that was. A lot of people wrote me to say, hey, that's a thing. And I agree, that's a thing. I never said it wasn't a thing. I was just surprised that when asked, have you ever eaten an animal heart? Army was like, no, are you fucking kidding me? I would never do that. Well, I took a bite of one. Yeah, I did that, of course.
Right.
But, I didn't know swallowing was the defining characteristic
Well,
there.
it was even funnier than that because they ever eat an animal heart. He goes, no, definitely not. I mean, I bit one, but it didn't, it wasn't sexually gratifying. Like, well, yeah, that wasn't the question at all. No one's asking that.
I'm not gay.
It was just that
Not
distinction.
gay for deer hearts if that's what you're asking.
I mean, why would I even be like that? Why would that?
How do you look, producer Chris?
I like that Batman angle.
Oh, we have a guest who just peered his head into the green room and then left. He's scheduled for an hour from now, so we'll hold off on that.
Mr. F.
I've eaten deer heart, says Marquita Farmer. Raw? That seems dangerous. Seems like it'd be bad for you.
You're concerned for people's
I
safety.
am. Why would you want to eat raw animal parts?
Well, either way, we agree it's not cannibalism, correct?
It's not cannibalism.
Okay.
No.
Because there was some blowback in the Reddit.
Well, he did want to perform cannibalism. That was one of the things that he talked to his girlfriend.
Faux show.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were people saying to the Reddit about it?
I'm just saying, from what I've heard, if you it's still a blowjob if they don't swallow.
Okay. Yep, that's a good point.
So,
I count it.
Yeah. For him to
I count it. Even if the mouth doesn't touch my penis, I count it.
I've been grossly misinformed.
In a lot of different circles, I hear it counts. So,
All right, what are we doing?
We're trying to make sure that we sound good, that people can hear us. They're seeing us. Things are
look
happening.
all right. I'm not too dark. It gets so dark.
Let me check my soundboard real quick.
LGBTQ plus.
Right.
Amazing.
I assume you could hear that, Adam.
I could, unfortunately. I could hear
Okay.
it.
I assume the people on YouTube are hearing this stuff as well. Let's check your board over there, producer Chris.
You get nothing.
Oh, that's a bummer. People are here. They're anticipating the show. Brock J. Hammer, speaking of Hammer, became a YouTube member. Thank you very much for doing that. I know we could sign up, become a YouTube member. You get the bonus shows. You can watch the shows on Saturdays when we record them or anytime thereafter. We just did a bonus show yesterday.
Yes.
Miss Dead Shark became a YouTube member. Thank you, Miss Dead Shark. Very nice of you. Jay Loiter has $2. Cheating on Mike with this banter, Carl. This is pre-show banter. Yeah. I mean, Mike is a professional. Mm-hmm. Mike gets banter on the show.
Oh, and it's quality banter.
It always is.
This is dog shit.
Yeah.
Whoa. I mean, you're a third of it, so.
I know. That's the problem.
Mr. Tony Soprano with $2 says, are you going to Stuttering John in Ohio? I live in Columbus. Okay. This has been quite the discussion we've been having. Yeah. Coming to Niles, Ohio.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Vinny about it after the creep off on Monday. Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, I heard you might want to go to that. I want to go to that. I do want to go. I think I'd ruin the show.
Yeah, we were talking about this briefly.
Yeah, like when Luke Skywalker was going with them on their final mission in Return of the Jedi, and he's like, I shouldn't have come. My presence here is bringing too much attention.
I was thinking the same
thing. Right, yeah. It's kind of a parallel to that,
yeah.
Where I'm too strong with the Force.
Yeah, right.
It's really what the problem is.
I was just thinking you're just like Luke Skywalker.
Make out with my sister, have the Force. Check all the
Chad comes home
boxes.
from work. Are you strong with the Force again?
So I think that if I went, it would throw John off. It might ruin the show.
Sure. No.
I want to be there. I want to.
Observe and report.
Yes. I really want to see John doing stand-up live. It looks amazing. In fact, there's a guy who's coming on a little bit who's seen it. We'll talk to him. But I think I'd ruin the show. But I want other people to go, though.
All right. Meeting adjourned.
I think a lot of people are going. It seems like just in the chat that I've seen, a lot of people live in that area.
I'll see you guys in
Pittsburgh or
How
between
far is it from
Pittsburgh and
Columbus?
Cleveland.
This place.
Oh, it's very far from Columbus.
What about Cleveland?
You go past Erie. Well, if you're coming from our neck of the woods,
All I know is
you go past Erie and you drop like.
I've gone to Columbus a few times to go to this music festival, the Punk in Drublic.
Yeah.
And we take the camper out there, and it should be a fun trip, and it's not, because you get to Cleveland, and you still got like 5 more states to go through, even though it's in the same state. It's freaking far, man.
America sucks.
It really does. It's too much.
It's a lot of nothing.
If there's one thing I can tell you about America, there's too much of it. Silent Shape became a YouTube member. Silent Shape wasn't a YouTube member? How is that possible? Good to see you, buddy. Yeah. He also gifted a membership.
That was nice.
That's how you do it.
That's pretty cool. Thanks, Silent Shape. Appreciate you. John Son's Cooter, $5. Greg Howard Hughes screaming away up in his apartment, scrawling, "I don't care," in excrement on the walls.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's like a horror film. It's like a snuff film just slowed down to a crawl that we're watching coming out of Opie's house. It's insane.
Save it for post banter.
Sorry. We do have much to discuss when it comes to the Opster. What a fun week this has been already. We're only halfway through.
Every time we start to hear that Dabbleverse is ending, it just gets bigger and more dynamic and more intense.
I'll be honest with you, Adam, prepping for the show today. And the Wednesday shows are an extra day from the last time we did a WATP. So there's always a little bit more stuff to talk about. Just, based on that. Because we do Saturday afternoon. And I'm out of it on Saturday. I'll catch a little bit of Be Dabbling live in the morning.
Sure.
But I'm not really like paying attention. We get done with the show and then we're off and doing shit.
But if you have to get your news from somewhere, that's not a bad.
Oh, no, it's great. For sure. I do get my news from it. But basically what I'm saying is from Friday night, when I'm done listening to voicemails and calling it a night, until, Wednesday, everything that happens, I don't get to comment on. There's the creep off, and there's really important things. I'll bring it up. But that's not the format there. We did a bonus show yesterday. I get to talk a little bit about these things. I go on Drew's show or something like that. But the Wednesday shows, there's always a lot to talk about. And I write down notes for myself during the week because things that I'm watching, and I put links in and stuff like that. And what's been happening a lot lately is I sit down and I go, I want to talk about this and I can't get to it. I want to get into this thing and there's just too much shit.
So maybe we should start the show.
Well, yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, that would help.
I was scrolling around on YouTube before this, and every show has turned into Who Are These Podcasts? Every show is just watching clips and commenting. Every show's watching Steel Toe. Every show.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's
not even just they're watching clips and commenting. They're watching the same people that we watch.
Yeah.
And commenting on them. And it's a fun time to be alive.
It is.
Spencer Streichert became a YouTube member. Thank you very much, Spencer. Thank you for becoming a member. There's a bonus show that's up if you go to the, I think I put it up for the members too, but I don't usually put a lot of stuff up that's members only. Basically, you want to go to the members tab on YouTube. That's where all the videos and stuff, all the bonus stuff that we do is there. Dang Lizard, €5. Their mouth doesn't have to touch Carl's pen for it to be a blowjob. It's enough that the mouth is touching their pen. Thank you. He gets it. Dang Lizard understands how I count a blowjob. All right. You said we should start the show, Producer Chris? Is that what you've been saying over there?
Now? Should we do it now?
Do it live!
Okay. All right. That's a good point. You bring up some good points. Let's get this thing started. Grant, I see you backstage. We'll get to you in about an hour or so. Hang tight. It's going to happen. Promise. Looking forward to it.
You see, this is a we just do it kind of show.
So if that makes you happy, great! But it doesn't affect me or my life.
Episode 603.
Are you a boner guy?
Oh, I was a boner guy.
You know what? I miss penis.
What are you talking about?
I'm the one who should apologize.
Is it going to be absolutely riveting? Is it going to change your life by any stretch? Probably not, but it's going to be at least entertaining, okay?
By the way, for those people that are in the back, remember to shut the fuck up.
Cuz-a-roo. Cuz-a-roo.
Slap-a-rooney.
It's showtime.
WAATP.
WATP.
Hello, Rorys and Cousin Welcome to another episode of Who Are These Podcasts, the only show that is no longer thanking OJ. I'm your host, Carl. With me today, a man whose last name is Private Parts. Adam Busch is here, everyone.
Still here, still talking shit, still no consequences.
Also with us, producer Chris.
Hey.
Please go to whoarethese.com. That's where you get our email address, voicemail number, link to our subreddit, link to our Discord server, link to our merchandise, link to our YouTube channel, and that link to Patreon and Supercast featuring 2 exclusive bonus episodes every single month. You can also join the YouTube channel. You get the bonus episodes that we do. We just recorded one yesterday.
Yes.
Living in the Past with Stuttering John. And we sprinkle in some other things too. So this was episode 9 from 2018 of the Stuttering John podcast. It was the episode after they made the Trump call, and they were very braggadocious on it. It was very much a victory lap podcast. So that was fun to dissect and get into. But then we also listened to my buddy John Marlowe. He's been digitizing all of the old Howard Stern shows, all the archives. And he found the episode where John first appeared on the Howard Stern show in 1988. And Mitch Fatel, who was the intern before John, the much more talented intern before John went on to have a great stand-up career, still doing it. Crazy how that kind of thing happens. Mitch Fatel was on the show and was introducing, hey, here's the new intern filling in for me, John. And John did not stutter. It's wild to listen to where you hear where John learned, I have to pretend I stutter a lot more than I do in order to be enjoyable and entertaining for people.
I thought I had heard everything being in the Dabbleverse, being at the center of it. And that was new to me, and that was very insightful.
It really was.
Yeah. And hearing Mitch Fatel doing those celebrity interviews and being fantastic at them. He was very funny and very good. And if he stayed, I bet he would have had a great career.
Mitch Fatel was yelling stuff at Norman Lear, and it was all the shit that John does that he takes credit for and acts like he invented, when he wasn't even the first intern on the Howard Stern show in the late 80s to do it.
It's not his fault. His 4th grade teacher wrote it.
Yeah, that's
true. That's true. You're right.
Find
Got me
him,
there. Guys, Hackamania is coming up May 9th through 11th. We'll be there doing a live podcast, but there's going to be so much going on. It's going to be such a great time. You're going to want to get to Vegas May 9th through 11th, hackamania.com. Tons of live podcasts. After Steve's going to be there. What else do you need to know?
Nothing. But
Lucy's going to be
since
there.
you're listening,
Lucy Tyfox will be there also. But yeah, Dr. Steve's going to be there, and Tukey Soup. We don't know if OJ's going to be there. OJ's come out and said he's not sure he wants to hang out with that Nick Rekieta guy.
It's very complicated. He's a very sensitive fruit.
Also, Dabble House Live, April 11th through the 12th. We're all going to be in a content house down in Florida. The Uncle Rico Show and WATB combined will be playing the Kate Meany tapes, season 2, the phone calls between John and Kate Meany when they fell in love. I can't wait for that. We'll also be doing live streaming on this channel and Shuli's channel throughout the weekend. So looking forward very much to Dabble House Live. Go to dabblecon.live to purchase your pay-per-view tickets, get you all the shows that we're going to be doing for that weekend. You can sign in on multiple devices. We make it really easy for you. We did this for DabbleCon too, and it worked out really well. It's not a show like you see Uncle Rico or Who Are These Podcasts. We bring in professionals to actually do a real show. So it's going to be fantastic. Looking forward to that. Also, we encourage our listeners, go ahead and give us 5 stars wherever you review podcasts, and then shit over us in the comments section. Of course, the super tip system is up and running, and I should probably play this one right out of the gate because it has a lot to do with what we're talking about right here. Gross Hackamania VIP Tim Bollinger says, thank you, OJ. We're thanking OJ now, Tim? I don't know if you got the memo, my friend. I don't think you did. OJ's now a menace to our boy Patty Melt.
You have to send us another super tip and let us know that you got the memo. That's how it works.
You get to double the amount of money that you paid from the previous one. All right, today we'll be talking about, did I mention it's supertip.gg/WATP is where you want to go. If you want to participate in the show, we do appreciate that. We have lots of fun AI voices on there, including Howard Stern, Dr. Steve, Dick Masterson, Joe Matarese. I don't think we've heard Joe Matarese yet.
I don't think so.
Lisa Boswell is on there.
That's a good one.
Adam Busch is on there.
Not necessary, but
I think that was pretty good too. Today, we'll be talking about a hilarious episode of Financial Audit with Caleb Hammer. We're going to talk about Ethan Klein's alleged drug use. Lucy Typebox helped me out with that. We're going to talk to a guy who hung out with Stuttering John. He's going to be joining us to talk about going to see him at the Boca Black Box and then hanging out with him afterwards after the show. John Blitt on the Howard Stern show slipped up this week, and I have that. We're going to talk about, of course, Anthony's radio deal has already gotten better, and Opie doesn't know what to do about it because Opie's whole angle was, who cares? It's Sunday night on 1 a.m. station, so he doesn't know what to do now. We do have another round of 2 minutes with Tom Myers. Cardiff got it in just in the nick of time. Just made the deadline for it.
I'm due.
Yes. But first, let's check in on Aaron Imholt and his obvious gaslighting of his audience. This is so blatant that I felt I needed to point it out.
Please, guys, Streamlabs, PayPal, Super Chats, Rumble Rants, Venmo. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we don't deserve it.
I'm going to start off by playing a couple clips from the most recent episode of This Little Piggy. If you're unaware, This Little Piggy is a show that I do with the guys on Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern on this channel, the Who Are These Podcasts YouTube channel. I put the audio versions out for anyone who's on our Patreon who still listens to their shows on their podcast app. You can always get the RSS from Patreon and just fill that up, and all the new episodes just show up right there on your phone. But this episode, it was just me and Patrick Melton. Tukey and Moody couldn't make it. And there was a big hullabaloo over the fact that someone sent Aaron a photo of Patrick Melton's dog dressed up like a martini. And Aaron went nuts about this. He's like, holy shit, this is the smoking gun.
Gotcha.
This proves what a loser Patrick Melton is. No one's going to like him anymore after he sees this. So this is us watching that. And you're going to see us responding to that a little bit here.
Someone sent him that picture and told him it's my dog.
Yeah.
But I
don't do that to strangers' dogs. Which one is it? Is it not your dog? Or is it your dog and you dressed it up and you got him? Someone says, show all the pictures. Well, wait a minute. If that's not his dog, then who's that?
Okay. So that is your dog?
That's my dog. I don't see a costume. This is, I think he's mashed up concepts in his own head.
Yes.
So, like, the problem with this photo is it's just me and my dog. Where's the costume?
Okay.
No one.
He's hold on. He's getting there. He's getting there. Hold on.
No one's saying I don't have a dog. That's
right.
not the argument.
Okay. Well, hold on. He's getting there. Let's see.
Wait a minute. I thought it wasn't his dog. Wait a minute.
So now he's changed the entire argument that you're saying you don't own a dog.
Of course. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, gotcha. Okay. Nope. He's talked about his dog a lot. We know it's his dog. Okay.
He didn't show this one. Wait a minute. Did he show wait a minute. If that's not his dog, why is he with him again at a puppy play date in the park?
Okay. So he's showing a couple photos of dogs, but really where it all culminates is with this clip.
Boy. And then of course, look at the costume Patrick put on his
puppy. Oh,
shit. He dresses him up.
Oh.
And then there's the
dude, that's embarrassing.
Hold on, go back to that.
Yeah.
You know me, I don't want it up for long.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
So he said he's in all the photos. Now, there's one.
I only saw the one. I want to comment on this costume real quick.
Go ahead.
Creative.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not against it. You know, the dog obviously has one of those cones, so it can't lick itself. It's probably recovering from something. And they shove the olives in there, make it look like it's a martini.
Ran to its head.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it. I had only heard it, and I thought he like dressed him up in a costume. I didn't realize it was just a medical cone with a little stick in the back. Like it's nothing. The dog doesn't even know what's happening.
Yeah, it's not even full of gin.
Even if the person pointing this out wasn't about to be on trial for a sex crime, this would not be news.
Well, it's even less than not news, as you're going to find out.
Now, in the only one where a dog is dressed up, and again, a reverse Google image search will bring that up to, just Google martini dog. My dog was born in December of 2020.
Guys,
and you will see posts.
This is why Aaron is such a moron, because he wouldn't do this work. This is how easy this is. I did a reverse Google search on this dog to find that this dog is on Pinterest and Doggy Grub and Facebook and Pinterest a bunch more. And these are going back some 9 years ago. This dog is dead. This dog in this photo right here has moved on to doggy heaven. This was 9 years ago. Okay. So right there, we showed the photo that Aaron showed, and he said, oh my gosh, this is proof that he dresses his dog up. And so that we went on that Friday. It was Friday morning he showed that. Friday afternoon we go on, we go, here's a reverse image search that proves this is obviously not Patrick's dog. So you would think that Aaron would just ignore it, move on, act like he got a W from it. No, on Sunday's members only show, he brings this up again. And this is what I can't understand this man's mentality. I don't know people like this.
See, this is why I don't know why Patrick Melton and his fans are coping about the dressing up the dog thing. You're just a lonely, morbidly obese man. It's a little weird, but you should own it. You should stop denying it. But then again, I suppose if you have a stupid audience and they'll just buy it, why not? It is amazing to watch that, though. Like, watching them get mad at me for exposing their guy as a liar, which I do all the time. I mean, it's effortless. I've done it 9,000 times. Every time they try to do it to me, they backfire. It's just, I don't know. They're not going to care. Like, if he just admits he dresses his dog up, here's what he doesn't understand. Maybe it's too much pride. Maybe it's scarring from Red Bar. I don't know. He doesn't have any fans. Nobody's there for him. He's shown that. He tried to do a show like I do. He tried to be Aaron Imholt. He failed. He tried to be Steel Toe. He failed. He wanted to do biting commentary. He wanted to talk about the news. Nobody gave a shit because I'm funnier than he is and I'm smarter than he is. So I do a better show. They are all there because they hate me. I'm the lightning rod. I'm the draw. He still, I think, is in denial of that because he's wanted this for so long, people to listen to him. But, like, you tried to be me and you couldn't.
First off, a lot of weird things going on here. But I just want to back up, Adam, to the point where we prove that that's not his dog. And Aaron's been saying it's his dog, like that's a big win over him or something. And then Aaron just doubles down. What is that?
I think I didn't realize how low IQ he was. I think it's very much like when John likes to pretend he's Joe Pesci and My Cousin Vinny, and he thinks as long as everything he's saying has that tone of voice, people will respect it. It's true. It's what we do. I find going over the details and minutia of these buffoons to be hilarious. I love it. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
When he thinks he's doing the same thing. He thinks, aha, this is a gotcha. But like you said, there's no research. It's mostly fantasy. And if he was right, it would prove nothing. It just seems like he has a gotcha, but there's nothing there. And when he gesticulates, it's really funny because he's always like throwing his hands into this very dramatic pose, and then it crumbles into like one of these. It always starts very bold, and then it ends
awkward.
like a squashed bug.
Well, Patrick pointed out that we were all clowning him for consoling himself. He's always wrapping his arms around himself. He has stopped doing that. So he's taking note. He's trying to do things differently. And now it's this bodacious guy who obviously has it all figured out and is crushing his competition. And I assume he says these things that are obvious lies that we've already proved were a lie. And I just did again, just because he doubled down on it. He must think that his audience is just not on YouTube. Like does not see all of these clip show videos coming in that prove this guy's a phony. He must think that he's pulling the wool over their eyes.
We were talking about Scientology last week, and this is, I think, a lot like Scientology. He thinks if he just says a lot of words, sounds real confident, people will just not question it and follow. But if you
He'd
just actually
love
listen,
to be a cult leader, this one.
that's all he really wants to be.
That's really what he wants. A televangelist / cult leader.
I mean, he says it. Just listen to me. Only believe what I say. Don't believe anyone else, and give me money.
The way that he doesn't show any clips, so he goes, "Yeah, Patrick Melton, man, this guy was trying to be me, and nobody cared about it." It's like, all right, well, go through the archives. All of his shows are still up there. Go find an example and show us what you mean by that. Instead, he lies about what we've shown and then just makes up additional lies and just goes, "Oh, you just got to believe me." I don't believe anything because we just proved that you're lying about just a dumb thing that who cares? Who gives a shit if you put olives in the cone of the dog or not?
It's like
Who
when R.
cares?
Kelly would do an interview before he went to jail. Like, any seconds spent not talking about what R. Kelly's accused of is a win for him. I think any second, even if he sounds stupid, he's like, we're not talking about my dick size. We're not talking about my throuple or how my life has gone. And pretty soon we're going to hear him just absolutely escape into fantasy delusion and just try and fool us all like a 5-year-old that got dumped by a girl on the playground.
All right. So later on in this clip, thank you, Stalin19, from his members only show, he talks more about how embarrassing it is that Patrick dresses his dog up. But then he says this.
Gross. I'm not, it's Gordy's 3rd birthday. I'm not afraid to admit that we put a fun little party hat on him, me and the kids. Patrick is still in denial and coping with the fact that we outed him as a liar and a dog dresser-upper.
He's a little teapot. Look at him.
This fucking, that was like one sentence where he goes, "Yeah, I'm not ashamed to admit that we put a little hat on our dog for his birthday." And Patrick, what an idiot he is. He's dressing his dog up. What a loser. What? What's going on right now?
I completely missed what he said because he went through 6 of the classic, like, 70s vintage pinup poses. Like he was in the middle of them. Yeah, there's one. Yep. And then he puts his hand on his hip and, like, what's happening?
All right, Adam, close your eyes.
Sorry.
I never have this problem with Blind Mike on WATS. He never gets distracted.
That's why I
by the
mostly
visual.
listen to this stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Mike's a better broadcaster.
It's really, really gross. I'm not, it's Gordy's 3rd birthday. I'm not afraid to admit that we put a fun little party hat on him, me and the kids. Patrick is still in denial and coping with the fact that we outed him as a liar and a dog dresser-upper. There. I think you're all caught up.
It's crazy, isn't it? How does that happen?
Yeah.
How does he just blatantly lie to his audience like that multiple times? And I think that's okay.
It reminds me of those videos of, like, people pretending they're talking to somebody off camera that's not there, giving them a compliment or, like, asking for their number. He's just, like, creating his own reality and then responding to it.
Yeah, like when Gavin Newsom was pretending he was talking to the president. That woman came up, she's like, "Oh, can I talk to him? I don't really have the president." Whoops.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you very much for supporting the show. We have tons to get to. I'm going to get to Ethan Klein next, but first I want to just check out what people are saying on supertip.gg/WATP, including, again, girls. Hey, just like we said, double the. He did.
It worked.
Gross Hackamania VIP Tim Bollinger with $10 says, "I did get the memo." Okay. All right. Well,
Are you sure?
You can thank OJ. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Leave me alone, Carl. I'm busy destroying my legacy.
Brian
enough.
Johnson coming in with Howard Stern. That's a good voice, by the way, the Howard Stern one. Chris Hall coming in.
Shirley is a loser. He thinks he can afford Chad. I paid him $12,000 last year. Have you seen their numbers? I have more credits. Who is Auntie Karen? Is that supposed to be me? Where's my wife?
Yeah, a lot of questions about what's going on with Kevin. It seems like things are not going well for him. Yesterday, I tuned in after we got done with our bonus show, and I was at the time texting with Anthony, congratulating him, and I see Anthony super chatting Kevin Brennan at the same time, and Kevin Brennan loses his mind over it and starts freaking out about Anthony, and I'm just like, holy shit, I'm watching another mental patient break down about you right now. They seem to follow him around. $5 says, "Where's Jenny Jingles Club Fruit McFruity? I think Adam would play a good Joker, better than that whispering, hair-lipped creep Joaquin Phoenix." Hi, Chris.
Hello.
Joaquin Phoenix was fantastic in that movie.
He sure
I
was.
stand by that. Jenny was on the bonus show we did yesterday. She was also on
PDP.
Point Dabble Point. Had a busy week, that Jen from the Jingle. So she's back in her cage now. That's enough. What does this say? Genter's overprocessed bleached highlights?
Nailed it.
Well, thank you. Dame Taft. I want to shucka producer Chris's neck folds like a cuddly St. Bernard.
I can't help it. I'm 53. What's your excuse?
I miss old Howard Surf $5 says, last week you guys said Stuttering John doesn't have imposter syndrome. Stuttering John once mentioned Kumia treating him like a peer. He definitely feels like a fraud sometimes. Yeah, he's in deep denial. That's part of the narcissism where he deep down knows he does not belong, but he is delusional. Great to see you guys from MG Invitational. Great to be seen. Stewie felt $2. This dummy is going to perjure himself, isn't he? He sure is. Carol Dillon with €5 says, hey, gents, aside from Opie's insane jealousy, his affectations, IT doggy, and the way he talks a certain deliberate way drive me mental. Hate him. It's driving him mental too. You know what we should do? This would be a fun little experiment. We should go back in time and listen to Opie radio from 4 or 5 years ago and then listen to what he's doing now. Because he's definitely gotten way worse with the voices and the affect and everything that he's doing.
I first met him when he was trying to do the self-help thing or therapy or whatever.
Yeah.
He did not talk like this. And maybe he talked.
He was a normal
like
guy.
this before that doing radio, but this was just a dude talking.
He definitely didn't talk like that on the Opie and Anthony show.
It shows you the effect that a mental state has on just your physicality and everything, because the change is almost on par with John's. If you were to line up how different and what a digression it is from 5 years ago, except with John, we have the alcohol to blame. Opie, it's just, being pent up alone and not processing things.
Talking to the chat every morning is bad for you. You hear that, Tom Myers? I checked it on Tom Myers this morning. He's got 8 people in there, and he's so unprepared. He's got nothing to talk about. He's reading every comment that comes up, except for mine. Somehow he misses mine. I don't know how that works. Mr. Doodle's been a member for 3 months, says, Melton wrote and sang a song about effing kids. He's just as weird as Aaron or Stuttering John. I don't think that was an autobiography. I think that that's some people's sense of humor. Don't ever watch The Creep Off. Danny Saint, $5 says, what do you make of the great news Aaron claims to have gotten yesterday that he says is of a legal nature? I do not know, because the way he was talking, it sounded like maybe he had a radio gig lined up. And he's like, I don't want to talk about it. I can talk about it, but I don't want to talk about it. Did he make a deal with the state so that the trial's not going to happen? I don't know. I hate that, though, too. That's the most annoying. I wasn't even going to bring it up. Because it's like the people on Facebook, and I don't go on Facebook for years, but I just remember they'd just be like, oh, what a horrible day today. And they're just looking for everyone to be like, oh, what happened? Oh, no, what's wrong? That was the same thing that this jackass is doing with like, oh my gosh, I have some great news. It's unbelievable, you guys. I can't believe how great it is. I'm not going to say what it is. And then fuck off. And then I'll give a shit.
And there's no way there's no delivery that sentence can have that doesn't make you sound like you're full of shit. Someone in your circle has incredible news that everyone has to admit is a victory. And your response to that is, oh, I also have a very similar victory in every regard that would make all of my haters cry. I know I'm winning. I'm spending all day dealing with this thing. Anthony's career is actually now kind of in competition with mine, but I just can't talk about it. And they told me it's okay to say this, but nothing more. Now I can't talk about it.
It doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't want to give it any daylight.
If it was actually happening, he wouldn't be fucking talking about it, because Anthony was not talking about secret phone calls and late night meetings that his haters would be up all night over if only they knew. It just happened.
The One Pun says, turns off public comments to control his narrative. I don't know if you're talking about KB there. Could be talking about KB, because he certainly does that.
At least when I dressed my dog up, I put her in a bikini.
A customer came by today with his dog in a little dress. I knew it was a teaching moment. Did that dog really identify as a dress wearer? I think the world is better for our chat.
Nancram coming in. Thank you very much.
That's beautiful.
For that, Nancram. Beggy Monster, always a treat on this show. All right. We did a segment about Ethan Klein, and Lucy Tightbox and I were talking after the show. And we were talking about, Ethan's got a lot of tics. He's got that sniffing tic. He's constantly touching his nose. And when you do that on a show, people assume maybe you're snorting drugs.
Yeah, it's weird. I used to have that tick.
Yes, you did.
It went away.
So we know about this,
It's
right?
an expensive tick.
It's a very expensive tick, and it's not flattering in any way. So he started up his show. I think this is from Friday morning, Ethan's show. And I was watching this just to pick up on his alleged drug use. But there's something bigger going on here that I do want to get into. But he'll be talking about that here. But let's start off by just listening to how much he's sniffling and how gross this is, for lack of a better term.
This morning, listen, in our long career of being influencers in the public sphere, we've been swatted several times.
Yep.
People say, "Hey, I killed my wife and kids, and I'm in the closet, and I'm gonna kill myself."
And I put bombs around the house.
It's usually something like that, and then the helicopters come, fire trucks come, police come. I remember it happened where they went around the perimeter of our house and Shredder got out. It was so scary. That part was so scary. We weren't there at the time. We've also had the FBI come to our house, actually, at this point, several times. One of them being to tell us not to open any packages until
further notice.
Until further notice.
How distracting is that? Who's watching the show who's a fan of it and isn't just sitting there going, "Oh my gosh, you going to keep doing that?" 3-4 times in a row between sentences.
Yeah, I take it back. I didn't have that tick.
No. Well, that, to me, and I'm just observing things I have done my entire life, this is a guy who just started the show. It seems like it is fresh in his system. Right?
How bad were his tics and his Tourette's before? I never saw it this bad, but I know it is a part of it. And people, a month or two ago, it was the coughing. Every other sentence was
right,
constant. Now there's no coughing. It's weird. It's like a weird OCD tic thing where it's twice, and I don't know what's happening. It's definitely a mix of like whatever he had before mixed with some kind of caffeine or speed and like staying up all night and freaking out about his life, because the way he's acting is reflected by the things he's saying. Like, all these guys, they just stopped doing their show and they just are all Lenny Bruce at the end of their life now.
Yes.
And a lot of them, I didn't get to see them when they were Lenny Bruce talented. So I only know KB as this like unfunny wet Q-tip. Like, I don't know what the appeal is. And this thing is just him railing against his enemies. Every time I tune in a more disheveled, frantic, and like less stable state.
And it's getting worse and worse. And we pointed this out before. However he's handling this, and it's not good what's happening to him, he's doing it wrong. Because it keeps getting worse and worse. He's going to explain that in this clip. I also pulled this clip just because the continuing tick here of him sniffing.
Drake.
This morning we got a visit from Child Protective Services because I told this story on the show a few weeks ago about how when we adopted Olive, she had Giardia. And then the next day, Sonny started having diarrhea, so we suspected he might have Giardia. Seeing as that he's an infant, he's crawling around, he's putting everything in his mouth, etc. Makes sense, right? It's obvious. So it turned into this whole snark narrative that our house is a mess, that there's dog shit everywhere, that Sonny is eating shit and getting Giardia, and that, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. So CPS, Child Protective Services, visited their house that morning. So he's a little shooken up by that, it would appear, which...
That's fair.
Very fair. His, I think, 8-month-old son, Sonny, had Giardia. And so he talked about it on the show, and then people on the internet and his enemies ran with it, and they got CPS to visit the house. Now, let's fast forward about an hour and a half into the show. Okay? So he talks about all this stuff. He goes through all these kinds of things. Now, you're going to notice the sniffling is not happening nearly as much an hour and a half later.
They might say no now.
You could say this. Do you like it?
Oh, wow.
Okay, hold on. Because I want to know if they think you should keep the goatee or get rid of it. But those are too hard. Those are two separate pulls.
Oh, I'm getting really confused, and I'm really nervous now.
The Abstabon, yes or no?
What do we think of Abstabon, yes or no?
And then afterwards, you could say, should he keep the goatee or shave the goatee? So we have two very pertinent polls, and I'll look forward to the results when I come back.
So there he gets up to take a leak. All right. So I don't know if he's coming down or what's happening. Maybe he just has to pee. I don't know. But he's gone for 5 minutes. It's a long time to tinkle, but I mean, there's other things you got to do, I suppose.
In the middle of your show?
In the middle of the show, he just gets up and walks away for 5 minutes. And then, so you just saw right there, he's much more under control. He still has the tick a little bit, but nowhere near what we saw at the beginning. Well, now he comes back after this bathroom break, and it's like he's back into the early show format again.
Just to touch on, I appreciate your gut. Obviously, this is probably the most fucked up thing that these people could do. And it's put me and Ela in the headspace of just, the gloves are off at this point. And you guys will see the effects of that as we.
He also has a nervous energy going now. He's shaking a little bit. He keeps playing with his hat and his face.
Move forward through this. But I make no apology. And I will do everything that I can to hold any of these people to justice in any possible way that I can. And that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to be happening. And if you guys have any other clips of Denim saying that our kids, anything about our kids and the dog thing, I would love if you guys can compile that for me.
It just gets funnier.
I mean, how
like
quickly would you slap me across the face if I was doing that on the show? You would reach over the table and knock me out.
And that's the point. You said it, Carl. Like, they talked about his coughing. They talk about his Tourette's. He's very open about it. He even talks about when it goes off and it's busy and when it calms down. And they talk about it. No one is saying anything about this because either they can't or they know not to. Look, I was on the fence about this, but when you showed him not sniffing, by the way, for those listening, every one of those was real. Nothing was added. It's constantly like a computer, but he was the physical embodiment of coming down. He was slouching. His head was dropping. He had no energy. And at the last second, he leapt up, was gone for 5 minutes, and now he is locked in.
Yes,
he is frozen up and like this. Yeah. That is, either he just took a Red Bull or something stronger.
It's like he tagged in his clone. It was like, all right, I'm going to take a nap. You take the rest of the show or something.
This one's got a charged battery. This one's dead.
Yeah, a different guy just showed up. It's ready to go. So this is more right after he got back. Playing with his nose is very obvious what's going on.
Again, it's just the level of harassment that's not even just being put on us, but like everybody in our lives, our employees, the stuff that you guys are having to deal with, which I'm not going to specify or anything. That's, if you guys want to talk about it, you can, but I'm not going to put anything out there. But it's so fucking it's so unfair to you guys that.
Okay. One more example of this after he's back from the bathroom, just to drive my point home.
So it's just normal. Like I said, in Turkey, there's mandatory military service.
Yeah, and Hassan's parents flew him to America.
Yeah, he basically bought his way out of it doing it, which is the most socialist thing to do, by the way. Instead of serving your country like everybody else who is not privileged with money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we're going to go much later into the show, near the end of it, and we'll see if he's coming back down again and less sniffly.
This how is this happening? I mean, the people at Reddit must just be in on it. The people at Reddit are participating in this. That's the only explanation. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to hold these people accountable.
How do we get anybody to see this? Like,
I've tried everything, but like it gets worse, and they.
Have you tried talking to like a reporter? Like
a reporter, they're the ones, they come at me and call me crazy.
Yeah, but
Okay. So Ethan did a show yesterday where this is just him, and he's at his work computer or workstation there, and he's got his microphone in his hand, and he's going to talk about what happened. The episode's called This Is Fucked Up. He's going to talk about how the CPS got called on him. Now, what you're going to notice here is very few tics going on. It's interesting that he looks like the old Ethan in these clips.
Friday morning, an agent showed up to our house saying that they had received an anonymous tip that our children were crawling around in dog shit, eating dog shit, and contracting diseases. Not only have they called CPS on us, now they're starting to try to call in a 5150 to get me committed. It's really gone on too far, and at this point, I'm ready to take no prisoners, take the gloves off, and call out everybody who needs to be called out.
Okay. This little corner of the internet, which is a pretty big corner of the internet, is fucked. These people have lost the plot. They've lost the thread. They're actively trying to have this man institutionalized, have his children taken away. They're doing everything they can. It's pretty crazy. I guess the moral of the story is don't fuck with Hassan Biker. Let him do his thing, because these people are out for blood.
I feel like he knows better than this. If he's been covering a lot of sensational stories about a lot of broadcasters for a long time, I feel like he knows deep down that everything he's doing is the game plan to just keep this going. Why would you
it's getting worse and worse, and he just keeps like pushing back, like, oh, I'm going to make sure I sue them, and I'm going to do this thing. Like, he keeps retaliating and threatening a retaliation, and it's not helping his cause at all.
No, and he's starting to fall into that anyone who doesn't like me, it's because of these unknown forces that are all working together against me, not for things that maybe he could be held responsible for or do something about. And John is the same way in terms of he feels the compulsion to share with you every insult he's ever received and to make you hear why are you talking about it? Stop talking about it.
And Ethan has more of a case than Stuttering John ever could have. He is being fucked with at a level that is ridiculous and should not happen on the internet. But at the same time, he's so paranoid about it. I have a clip coming up or two where you're just like, all right, man, you're making it really hard for us to get on your side, because, you know, he's just acting like such a victim. And this is a guy who, again, it goes back to like Perez Hilton drawing penises on people's faces and cum on their faces, became famous for that. And then wants to completely change his image and just be like, yeah, I don't do that anymore. So let's forget about that. I'm mainstream now, and I can interview all the top celebrities. Oh, cool. I didn't realize you could do that.
He's criticized everyone and everything freely forever to a very, very large audience. And I think he's aware of what Reddit is. And I think he knows he had no problem with it before. But the second they're talking about him, suddenly everything's very, very different. And it's a new set of rules.
Well, there's a reason for that. So the CPS shows up, and they go through the entire house. They're looking through the fridge. They go upstairs. The toddler's sleeping. They wake up the toddler. And there's more interviews coming.
My young 3- and 5-year-old children, who are sweet and innocent as can be, have not yet been interrogated by a CPS agent, but that is due to happen on Wednesday. He also spoke to our nanny, our housekeeper. He's called the pediatrician that takes care of the kids. He talked to them, pretty much sifted through every angle of our life having to do with our kids in an extremely violating, insulting, unbelievable way.
So that's annoying. I can see why he's a bit agitated with what's going on. So what he does on this video is he pulls up evidence that there are other creators, content creators, like there's this one called Denim's Daily and Bad Empanada, who are encouraging people to call CPS on him, which is crazy. I mean, this is against terms of service on any of these platforms that they're doing this, but he pulls up an example. This is Denim's Daily watching Bad Empanada, and he shows you what the chat is doing during this.
I think it's time to hold all of them accountable. Here, for example, is Denim's, a.k.a. Hassan Waiting Room, watching Bad Empanada talk about the state of our house and how we take care of our kids. Let's take a look.
He lets his dogs shit all over his mansion, and he just leaves the shit on the floor, something that is probably related to the fact that his former housekeeper is suing him for a number of different reasons. So I would assume he doesn't actually have a housekeeper anymore, or perhaps he lost his extra housekeeper. So now the house is just like covered in dog shit. And he has kids, and his kids like crawl into the dog shit, and God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. I don't know if they eat it, or if it's just from like contact with it with their hands or something. But they contracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called Giardia from the dog shit that is all over his house.
So you could see what that scroll is. Every single person is just like, holy shit, call CPS, get social security or social services involved. They need to be taken away. This is child endangerment. I mean, every single person in this chat is getting all fired up based on Bandit Banana's just making this shit up. Just like, oh, yeah, there's dog shit all over the house and the kids are eating the dog shit. Like, this is all coming from a story that Ethan himself told on his show about how Sonny had diarrhea and they found out the dog had an issue, so they weren't sure what was going on. Here's more of Bad Empanada.
Here's Bad Empanada once again, who posted a story saying, I'm the one who called CPS on Ethan Klein. I want CPS to take his kids away because they are seriously in danger. This is, once again, Bad Empanada, who's being elevated by Hassan, Matt Lieb, Denims, and tons of creators, leftist creators all over the internet.
Here's my problem with this. This Bad Empanada saying, I called CPS, I want those children taken away. Don't pretend like you care about Ethan Klein's children. You don't. This is the thing that Nick Rekieta was saying when everyone's just like, oh my gosh, Nick's kids, they're in danger. This is so bad. And it's like, no one cares about my kids. None of these people give a shit about that. They just want to hurt me. And so the fact that Bad Empanada is going out there just being like, wow, we really got to look out for these kids. There's kids suffering way worse than these kids who are in the home of multimillionaires with a housekeeper and the nanny and everything else that they have. The one kid got sick, and Ethan talked about that. But what I found to be disheartening, now Bad Empanada lives in Argentina, so he can kind of like get away with this shit. And Ethan's even said, I'd like to sue him for defamation and harassment, and there's nothing I can do. He's in Argentina. But this I found to be pretty ridiculous on Reddit's part.
I'm calling CPS on Ethan again. It says this time because his kids are around Zionists, which is a high predictor for baby murder. This is a post that is still up on this subreddit that was reported, and Reddit admins reviewed this and said, no, this is compliant.
How is that still up on?
He's got a point there.
On Reddit.
He's got a point.
Fuck is going? Yeah, wow. That's the thing. I want to say, like, Ethan, what are you doing? Yeah. You're doing this all wrong. You're putting this on yourself. But then he shows certain things like that, and you're like, huh. Yeah, this is ridiculous that people are amplifying this message of calling CPS on this guy they know nothing about. They just see him on the internet.
The problem is he's stepping foot into the Middle East conflict. And
yes.
He's completely comfortable with words like genocide and Nazis and child abuse. And he's doing, whether it's justified or real or not, what a lot of politicians do and what John Melendez likes to do is he tried to report me for doing an episode of the Blunder Years because he said I'm actively supporting PDFs and Nazis by working with Shuli. And now whenever you search my name on the internet, somewhere, there's his, on every social media, my name accusing me of, corroborating with PDFs and Nazis because I did Shuli show, as if he hasn't worked with Shuli too. Playing that Kevin Bacon game of, aha, there's someone that and he's doing the same thing, unfortunately, going through the comments and making people be held responsible for something that was flashed on a chat, and now the host is responsible for that. Maybe he is. Either way, talking about it is the worst plan he could have ever enacted.
And the last clip I have on here is this is where you see the paranoia setting in. And we've all seen the person who's in the basement with the board up and they're trying to make connections. They're putting the pins in the different places and this connects to this and this, and he literally does this on his show.
I have never been so black-pilled in my life. I feel like I am trapped and that the world has gone fucking insane. This shit is bananas. What is happening? And I feel that I'm getting the same treatment now from Reddit. Now, I know they're both San Francisco-based tech companies.
So here he's talking about Twitch, because we talked about this on the show previously, where his video was banned for 30 days, or he was suspended 30 days for the same video that Hassan Piker put up. And then he responded to that, and they said, nope, you're definitely off. And then he talked to someone, and they went, oh, shit. They put him back up. So now he's talking about how Twitch and Reddit, their headquarters are close to each other.
But did you know that these two companies in San Francisco, their headquarters are blocks away from each other? It's just interesting.
He's showing that it's a 16-minute walk in between the two headquarters in San Francisco. He's just like, and both of these companies are out to get me. What do you think's going on here, people?
It's a magic bullet all over again.
I rest my case. Yeah. There's nothing else to see here. Got it all figured out.
These are facts, though. Reddit, Facebook, they're not going to help you. They're not. They really don't care who you are. I've heard of celebrities that, visited the Facebook headquarters to meet with everyone and have their page. And then when their page got hacked, nobody would help them. They don't give a shit. Reddit doesn't care. This is not new news. It's just information to you now because it involves you.
I do think that Reddit can be held responsible. They do take subreddits down that break their terms of service. And what Ethan is experiencing definitely is breaking the terms of service of Reddit, because it's definitely getting into the harassment territory.
It absolutely is. I
know.
I know the ages of all three of his kids because he said it so much while I was listening to this. I'm like, why do I know this? I don't want to know this. Stop saying it. And I don't know. I don't know enough about Tourette's. When he gets emotional, it starts to come up, flare up. Maybe it very well could just be Tourette's and his meds and this, state of free fall that he's in, flailing at everything. I don't know. When you're measuring the steps between the two offices and running while they're not stopping what they're doing and running across the street for you, it's a little
That's
delusional.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So Adam's officially on the side of maybe he doesn't have a drug problem. Okay. I'm officially on the side of maybe he does.
Okay.
Producer Chris?
He definitely has the sniffles.
Okay. that is true. He lives in LA. It's nice. The climate there is nice. No reason to have the sniffles. Okay. This was pointed out to me by Gummy. There's a show called Pro Wrestling Clips, and a wrestling podcast where we get brought up. Who are these podcasts? Wow. Gets brought up on this show.
It's funny how he said Doom. And we were talking about who are these podcasts earlier, and they recently did one on the Big Boom People's Podcast. It is the most insane thing. I implore you all, look up their podcast. Every episode, like let's say they're on episode 6, they give 6 booms. So they're like boom, 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 boom. And it's like, and then someone said on who are these podcasts, they're like, what happens when they get to episode 86? Or, are you doing 12 booms when you get to episode 12? That's crazy. Anyways, MJF says.
Anyway, thank you very much to the Pro Wrestling Clips, for Pro Wrestle Clips, I guess it's called, for bringing us up, and for the listener who caught that and sent it in. Thank you, Gummy. Always good to hear who are these podcasts being talked about in the wild, outside of the Dabbleverse. All right, we're gonna get to the chatters in just a second, but first I have a
Cringe of the week. Cringe of the week.
And this one comes in from Vasilius, and this is our buddy Caleb Hammer from Financial Audit. Does a great show. We've never featured it because it is a good show, and we tend to make fun of podcasts for sucking. But we've played clips of it quite often. And he just had a guy on his show who's a Mormon, who's married, and just might be gay. And so it's a very odd back and forth that they have on here.
No, you don't.
Why? Are you offended by the idea of taking a dick?
A little bit.
Okay.
I mean, I was in the Navy, so...
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's all gay underway.
Okay. Listen, I don't care. I don't care what you do or who you are.
You put 100 people,
I'll yell
100
at...
angry testosterone-driven men in one room.
What are you confessing to right now?
I'm not confessing to anything, but
Sounds like you're kind of confessing to things.
You're throwing a compliment, or not compliment.
What is happening?
A remark. You're throwing a remark at me oh, do you have a problem taking dick? Well, no, I don't.
No. But you were so insulted.
But you get 100 people in a room.
You were
Give me
so
that
insulted.
dick, I'll show you.
That maybe you were with the dude when you said he.
All right, I'm going to put you in a closet with 12 guys. You better suck all their dicks.
This is a perfect example of Army Hammer being asked if he's ever eaten an animal heart.
Right, yeah. It's like, but I didn't get off on it. I don't have a boner over here.
Like, isn't this a show about your taxes and your finances? What is he talking about?
So this is more fun that comes up during the show.
Far.
Yeah, well, you're not my wife.
You're being an arrogant prick, though.
I get that.
Why act like you know what you're talking about? You wouldn't be on the show if you did.
But she is so set again. And I get it, Caleb. I get it.
Maybe you
10
need
years
to leave
ago.
her for a man.
Maybe. No, I shouldn't.
He's insulted again.
I joke about getting with her
Smiling,
brother.
though.
He's a good-looking guy. But
Yes, it's a joke.
He jokes about getting with his wife's brother because he's a good-looking guy.
Laugh about it so much.
He's a good-looking guy. But no, I don't swing that way. My dick doesn't get hard for other dudes. If it did, we would not be having this conversation.
What?
My dick can get hard for other dudes.
What does that mean?
I'm just saying.
Wait, no, what does that mean?
If my dick got hard for other dudes, do you think I'd be here talking to you? I'd be talking to your producers instead. And we would be in the back room doing something else.
Wow, if you're trying to convince us you're not gay, you're crushing it.
Oh, wow.
All right, so what comes up in this conversation, they're going through his credit card statement. And this is a credit card that he hides from his wife. His wife does not know he has this credit card. And he explains it's because he likes to eat fast food. And he orders a lot of fast food on his credit card. But other things are found.
What? But that's a weird thing, man.
It is. He's
and
my
then
best
to
friend.
hide it from your wife and have to tell her, wait, I'm hiding some DoorDash orders, but they're definitely not mine.
Well, they're not DoorDash. I don't do DoorDash. But
Fine, Uber
in the
Eats,
past,
whatever it is.
in the past, like I would let him use it for
Wifey,
Uber.
I'm coming
And
on the show about the secret credit card that you have no idea what the purchases
she
are.
knows about the
and
credit
now
card.
conveniently, guess what? If you do see purchases on the show, they're my best friend of DoorDashing. Yes, this is all. That definitely
He
makes
doesn't
sense. So what are
have.
the
He doesn't have
purchases?
access to the card anymore.
The first. Are you kidding me? The first purchase, or you can say this is your friend.
It is.
OnlyFans.
It is.
OF.
It is.
The OF.
Because I don't have OnlyFans. I don't.
Sounds like.
So the first thing he sees on the statement is an OnlyFans purchase for $20. He's like, oh, this is your friend who purchased this? Oh, yeah, it's my friend. It's like,
I don't have an OnlyFans, but if I did, it would be the hottest guys you've ever seen, like the producer and my wife's brother.
if I had an OnlyFans account, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be beating off in the car still. Are you kidding me?
Like someone in denial needing to look at something.
Have you seen my wife? You haven't seen my wife.
No.
Okay. She is drop dead gorgeous.
Okay, this is something a gay guy would say. Well, why would I look at porn when I have an attractive wife? Like, okay, you're gay. There's proof right there.
This is the first time anyone's ever questioned it because he is not prepared for this.
No. I love that he came on this show and he's got OnlyFans
right.
all over this thing
amazing.
that his wife didn't know about. So he claims that there's no way he purchased the OnlyFans. He doesn't ever pay for sexual gratification.
Understand is I don't pay for sex. I don't pay for sexual explicitly material. I don't pay for that.
Only top of your credit card
But I
that
don't.
are
That is-
conveniently now that your wife has seen it for the very first
That
time
is
as
my
your
that is
friends.
my best friend's credit
Yes.
credit card purchase. It is.
Uh-huh.
The reason
If I call him in the post show, will he confirm it?
he's at work.
Oh, he's
He's
at
at
work.
work.
People can't take calls at work.
Well, he probably could, but we probably could call him. But
So I
probably-
can call him.
We probably
I can call him, and he will confirm this.
He will. He should.
He
Because- because he said
If he's a good friend, he will.
Yeah, right. If I could just call him before you call him, it'd be helpful. Thank you very much.
So he's the kind of guy who doesn't look at porn, who doesn't pay for porn. So his best friend is like, I know what you can do for me. I know what you'd be comfortable with. Buy my porn. And he's
You know
like,
that
absolutely.
secret credit card you're trying to hide from your wife because you eat at Wendy's a lot? Yeah. He also purchased OnlyFans for me? Yeah, of course. My best friend. Why wouldn't I? All right, this is really funny. This is the last clip I have on here. Just he starts going through the statement.
OF! McDonald's, Chick-fil-A. OF!
that's my best friend.
OF!
That's my best friend.
Burger King.
Yep, that was me
Chick-fil-A.
eating out.
OF is your best friend with how many purchases?
it's not.
I agree.
That
OF!
Why would I pay for that? Okay, but why would I pay for that, Caleb?
Why would it be on the credit card of yours?
Because my best
McDonald's,
friend
of
had
course.
it.
Yes.
And he was
Grandview Country Store. OF! OF!
Grandview.
OF!
Okay.
OF!
Oh, no.
OF! 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 We mixed it up and went to Express Amusement and Jail's Cause and Chick-fil-A and Arby's, but we're back, baby!
We are. Yep,
Blue Jacketer. That's not the only thing that's blue jacked on this statement.
Blue Jacketeer is a Navy app for me to study for my job.
And then you studied what men's assholes look like on OF.
No, Pete Townsend defense.
Yeah, right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a lot of fireworks on that episode.
My best friend.
There's a lot of OnlyFans. If you're looking at the statement here, it is $20, $15, $25, $30. And I believe the way OnlyFans works, I heard this from my best friend, is that when you sign up for an OnlyFans person, you're not done paying for it there. They're like, hey, now that you're part of my account, you're going to want to see this spicy video I made just for you. It's just an extra $20. You can see that.
Oh, let me talk to my best friend.
Yeah, so yeah, let me just get that credit card number again.
How did it come out, or was it assumed that the OnlyFans was gay and not straight? Like OnlyFans is just whatever, right?
I think Caleb was making that assumption based on the earlier answers to questions.
And he just ran with it.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Corrected
Because
him.
when he studied men's asshole, he's just like, oh, you.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck did you say, motherfucker?
My wife and I like to watch it when we fuck. It turns us on. But you could have
right.
said anything.
If I didn't have an erection, I'd get up and kick your ass.
All right. Guys, thank you for supporting the show at supertip.gg/WATP, like apeshit media over here.
Ethan's nose clearly has a buildup of fluid. Poor little guy. Fluid.
That's the thing. I don't hear fluid. I just hear a guy going. What do I know? I'm just an observer of people on the internet. You know?
It's crazy the similarities they're all starting to have. Everyone we follow.
Rocco Orby does do $5 says, Hilda is the IDF chick you marry when you can't get yourself a Gal Gadot. Eli, I believe is her name. James Q. Legend. Adam should apologize for the Nazi stuff. Yeah, you really should apologize for that.
James Q. Legend, my heart goes out to you. My heart, it goes out to you. Okay?
Do you know that Missy B has been on this show before, Adam?
I learned it from her.
We all did. Mark Ebatista has been a member for 9 months. Thank you, Mark. I'm just nodding in agreement, just like Carl, since KB said that's all you do. Thanks for the entertainment. All of you. See you in Vegas. Yes, see you in Vegas, Mark. Looking forward to that. And that's what we do on here when we watch the show. Yes. Ben C. Why does Opie's mouth look like he drinks ink? Because he drinks ink?
Yeah, maybe.
I think he really does broadcast like 2 minutes after he wakes up. I don't think he brushes his teeth or anything. He just
He
starts
definitely
it.
doesn't brush his hair.
Yeah.
I
Or
can
open his
definitely-
eyes.
Yeah, right. I can tell you that. Help me out with this name here.
Oh,
Adam.
God. Lungrid von Hungendong.
I
What's
love
up,
it.
Carl and crew? Member for 6 months. What's up,
Sup?
Lungrid?
Sup, Longrid? Thank you for being here. Thank you very much for supporting. Okay. I have a special guest coming on the show, a guy who just recently emailed me telling me he's got a story.
Bloody ass. Can I get a little sympathy? Because I got a bloody ass. I'm bleeding generously. Because I got a bloody ass.
Grant, are you ready to come on the show? Grant Newcomb.
I'm ready.
Hey, there he is. What's up, buddy?
What's up, gents?
How's it going, man? I see you brought a friend. Who's this?
This is Tom. He was also at the show.
Okay, so talk to me. You guys went to the Boca Black Box to see Stuttering John.
We did.
Are you both in the Dabbleverse? Are you both familiar with what we do here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we are. Well, Tom wasn't really, but we did about a 10-hour crash course the weekend before where I showed him who John was, the whole deal. And we went to that show, and it was about as great as you could imagine.
It,
I mean,
it feels like it. Just the audio I'm hearing. I wish I had video of it. The audio I'm hearing sounds like a lot of people were in on the joke of just like we're cracking up at how bad he is at comedy.
Well, it's funny you say that because the guy who recorded it, Boca Dave, he was standing right behind us. And so the laughing that you hear is us, mostly.
Mostly me.
So we went out with him after, but it requires a little bit of backstory.
Okay.
Because we showed up to the show. We get there. We walk in. We show our QR codes because we purchased our tickets online. And nobody scanned them. Anybody could have walked into the show.
No, they can tell by eyeball. They're just like, yep, that's the correct QR code.
Just come in, whatever.
That's funny.
In. And we sat at a bar that was like adjacent to the stage. Rest of the crowd was, rows deep. We couldn't even see them. They were behind a wall that we couldn't even see. It was about 60 people though.
Okay.
And John's set was, just terrible.
I have examples. I have some clips. I'm going to play it a little bit, but yeah, we've heard a lot of it already.
Dude, well, tell them what they told you before we walked in.
Right. Before we even get into the venue, an armed security guard is like, no recording. And I go, audio, not even audio? And he goes, no, like threatening my life.
I wonder who told him to make sure you reiterate that.
Say again?
I'm sure John was giving everyone a heads up because the MC had to say he wrote for the Jay Leno show.
Make sure you brandish your pistol.
Yeah. Show it proud. Yes, that's exactly right. And so we sit down, and I was like, oh my God, already it's fucked up. The openers were horrible.
Whoa. Tell them about when you made eye contact with them before we went on
That's
stage.
after the openers, though. The openers, there was one girl who was so bad.
I heard about that from Boca Dave. He actually sent me all the opener sets. I don't know that we want to humiliate those poor people.
No.
Really bad.
I mean, but she was doing like the typical, girl comic thing. She was talking about her vagina. It was like, and Tom and I were like, oh my God.
Good stuff.
But then, what's his name?
Jimmy.
No, Jackie. Not Jackie from the Stern Show.
Jackie Gleason's daughter
was there. She was solid. She was good.
Yep.
She was good. And then while she's performing, I look to my right through a clear glass door, and John is standing there by himself, and he's giving me one of these, pointing at his eyes, pointing at my eyes, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" Just like that, like making that gesture towards me, and I'm like, "Are we gonna die?"
He's on to you. You better laugh.
You're gonna buy me beers.
Yes, you Nicola Vultures are coming from you. And then John comes in while she's still doing her set. John comes in, he runs to the bathroom, whatever. He comes right up to me. My phone's sitting on the bar that we're sitting at. And he comes right up to me and taps me on the shoulder and goes, "You're not recording the set, are you? You're not recording this? Are you recording with that phone?"
So paranoid.
And I was like, "No, John, we're here because you're a legend of show business. We're your biggest fan."
Nice.
And he was
It's the
like,
right answer.
"Well, it was the right," and he believed me.
Yep. Of course he did. He wants to believe that.
All right, you guys want to come to Miller's afterwards?
Immediately, he's like, "Bet, we're getting drinks after Miller's." And I'm like, "Okay, good." He does his set. It's the worst thing you've ever seen. You guys have seen it.
Yep.
The worst.
Why do you think he singled you guys out? Why do you think he chose
Because we were the
you?
only two young guys in the audience, and we were just
Clearly, just by our presence.
Yeah.
Everyone else was there. No one was there to see him. Other
They're
than
just there for a comedy show.
Right. They just go probably once a month.
Mm-hmm.
They're old. They live in Boca.
It's a tax write-off.
It's a tax write-off. But
So it's safe to say that they would all be there getting drunk, being rowdy, having a great time, whether there was stand-up or not.
Correct.
Yes.
Great. And I think that explains why he got such a positive reaction.
They might have thought it was a band.
It wasn't Led Zeppelin. No.
But no, I mean, and this set, the worst set of all time.
But you're having fun. You guys are laughing. You're enjoying yourselves. And then afterwards, does he come back over to you?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And, we waited. We sat there because we knew we wanted to hang out with John after. Listen, we're not there to goof on him, but we're there to observe him in a scientific way.
Yep.
And so we waited till everybody walked out. He was like, after a set, he was like, "All right, well, I'm doing pictures out on the porch." Nobody got a fucking picture with him out on the field. We followed him out, and he, oh my God. It's okay. So Boca Dave, the guy who recorded the show, he was standing right behind us. He left. He didn't go with us. He left right when John was done. Because I bet when John came up to me and said, "Are you recording?" he probably was scared as shit that he was talking to him. Like,
you gotta leave the scene of the crime. You don't want to loiter.
Right. He was on a mission. He was on Mission Impossible. That's exactly right. But okay, so we're on the porch after. It's John and Jackie's daughter and a couple other, and the openers and a couple other people. He's like, "All right, we're all going to Miller's Ale House." And we're like, "All right, we're gonna get an Uber and go with you because we want to hang out with you, John. We love you." And John goes, No, you two, just get in my car. And we're like, "What?"
Nice. You got to be in the cat turd car.
The Benz.
Wow. All right, tell me about this.
Okay. So we walk down the doorsteps, right? And we go to his car. And I try to sit shotgun, right? And I open the door. And I just open the door. Just a bunch of, like mail and pill bottles immediately.
Like a waterfall.
And he's just like, ignore all of this.
Just sit in the back.
Just sit in the back.
It's like 1,000 pill bottles.
It's like,
wow.
Obviously, it's like Klonopins or something.
Yeah.
Were there any cats back there?
No cats.
What was the smell like in the car?
Normal.
Okay.
But it wasn't his headrests that are in those other videos. That's obviously not his car. The headrests were normal. It was a normal.
Oh, interesting.
Car.
Wait,
yes, that's right.
You're blowing my mind right now. He's not in his car when he's doing those cameos?
Unless he adjusts them.
Weird.
We didn't think he knew how.
Weird. I was like, wait,
okay.
Dude, weird. And then, and he said on his show recently, he was like, "I moved to Tampa 2 weeks ago. I have a terrible problem with directions. I can't go anywhere without Google Maps." I'm like, "We're going to Miller's. You go right here. Florida is the easiest driving state in the world. You go left and right." And he couldn't do it. And he couldn't do it. He was like, he had to pull up the map and look up what the fucking directions were. I was like, "Go here, make a right," and we're there.
He's been there before.
He probably came from there to go to the comedy club.
Yes,
probably.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Are they copping him free drinks at the comedy club? I don't know. He might have just stayed there. But
anyways, we get to Miller's.
But wait. We're skipping an also important part. I kind of did begin to show that I was fucking with him. Not fucking with him. And not there to goof on him. But just aware of the Dabbleverse, Because, well, first of all, right away he came up and accused me of recording him. So already he's like on to me. And then in the car, he's like, "What music do you guys like?" And I go, "What's the song? What's the song with the guy who's selling socks for free?" And he goes, "Doo-wop? How do you know about that?"
Oh, shit.
I was like, "I know everything, John. Don't worry."
Getting too close to the sun right there, buddy.
No, not.
Gotta be careful.
No, not though, because
dark side of the moon.
Because he was totally fine because he knew that there were Michelob Ultras coming.
Good. Okay. Cool.
So we get the Millers.
Two quick questions.
Yeah.
First off, how tall is John in your estimation?
5'7".
5'7". Okay. How drunk is he at this point? Because I know he's drinking on stage. He orders additional beers while he's on stage. Is he pretty inebriated, or is he all right?
Like halfway through to get another beer.
Yeah.
And it was like, "Sko!"
Well, we were sculling the whole time, but he's a seasoned alcoholic, so it's not like evident how drunk he is.
Okay.
Because he can kind of, take it easy.
Got it.
But he's banged up for sure. He had probably 12 beers prior to going to the bar.
All right, so he's just pre-gaming still. I got it.
Oh, yeah.
And he's talking to you, but he's paranoid about you, and he's riding that line, and you're riding that line, and just seeing how far it's going to go until it breaks.
Well, I truly don't care. Fuck John.
We were like, John, you want to look at our camera rolls or something? Like,
yeah. I'm like, well, when he came up the first time, I was like, here's my phone, John. Here's my I handed him my phone. Check if it's recording. Fucking.
All right, so you get to the ale house with John.
We get to ale house.
So we get to ale house.
Is it just the three of you, or other people coming and hanging out?
Other people are there.
Okay.
About 3 guys.
No, like 4.
Like 4.
Yeah.
There's
some dude who showed up who kind of looked like a real life Peter Griffin.
Yes, that's right. And I thought they were kind of like part of his like entourage, but then I was like, wait a minute, John doesn't have an entourage. These are people who are either there to goof on him also, or are retarded and are just there.
But they came from the comedy club, is my point, though.
From the
they came along to hang out with John. Okay.
Yes.
And how does he treat these people? How does he interact with them? Is it normal? Is it crazy?
They're not talking to him. We're the only ones talking to him the whole time.
Who's buying the beers?
We are.
Peter Griffin.
you guys bought him beers. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
good.
good.
5 or 6 pitchers or something like that.
No, we're drinking heavily. We
Well,
closed the bar.
Tell him what he said to the waitress when we first walked in.
We sit down at Miller's Ale House. We're the only people sitting at the bar. We order Miller. He ordered, guess what did he order? We all know.
Either Coors or Mick Ultra.
Michelob
Ultra.
Yeah.
He orders Michelob.
I'm on a diet.
Right.
Great joke. And they bring him a Miller. Critical mistake for that waitress. This is a nice girl, young girl, about our age. He's like, hey, I didn't order a fucking Miller. I ordered a Michelob. I'm like, John.
Jesus Christ.
John.
The same thing. It's the same goddamn thing.
John.
Comes out of the same
line. Yeah, right.
You don't have to be this is a hardworking girl. It's midnight. You don't have to be an asshole to this bartender.
Before you just slapped a different label on it. Oh, here you go, Your Majesty.
Oh my God. It was unbelievable. And that was like the first time I like got pissed at John.
Okay.
I was like,
Yeah, he's very rude to the people he sees as beneath him.
yes.
He was trying to impress you guys.
Oh, maybe that's it too.
Well, that also is
What the fucking hell?
I think he racially profiled you guys at the beginning, and then he used you to buy his beers and to maybe listen to him. And he's figuring out, and you were a great example of it, figuring out how to coexist in this world where he claims the dabblers are all Nazis, but there is only friends. And they're the only ones supporting him.
Right.
And somehow this has to settle into something, natural.
Right.
Because what you did, gentlemen, is point out what we've been saying for years, which is sitting in the backseat of a car and just watching John's head try and drive is more entertaining than, you spent more time on it than the entire evening of stand-up that he did. That's the entertaining part. That was the takeaway from the evening. That's when he started getting funny.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Well beyond. We were there until close. They closed at 2. We were in the bar at midnight. This set was 45 minutes. We left at like 10:30.
We were there until like 1 a.m.
So you guys were chatting with John for hours.
Oh, yeah.
Hours.
We're
What's he talking about?
Yeah, what are the highlights? What do we got?
Old Stern bits. Well, I was talking because I love the Howard Stern show from the old days. I was telling him about old Stern bits. I was listening to him say he was so retarded. He was saying like, yeah, Artie never wrote his own stuff. Jackie never wrote his own stuff.
Oh, what an asshole. Always be bashing.
Are you fucking stupid? You didn't write your own stuff. You. And
It's not like these guys are going to go on a show and talk about this conversation.
They better not be recording me.
Yeah, and he asked us again at the bar, are you recording me again?
I thought so hard. I thought how funny it would be if I just pulled up the recording app and just like slid it to him across the bar.
You should be like, no, but thanks for reminding me. I already missed some gold.
But this is what he always does. He claims he knew you were recording, And also spoke freely and said everything he wanted to and shit talk anyone around him. So if you were recording him, he'd say, I told him and here's the proof. And if you weren't, he got to use you and say whatever he wants anyway. And you know what? If you were Stern fans, who the fuck wants to hang out with like an ex-Beatle and just hear him talk about how the Beatles are all assholes and didn't write their stuff and I hate them and they're bitter jerks and I wish they'd die. Like, you're ruining it for everybody.
Right.
God.
Also, going after Artie Lang is such a dumb move. Like, everyone loves Artie Lang. It is the one thing everyone can agree on. Every other show is controversy. I like this guy, I like that guy, I like this bit, I like that. Everyone loves Artie Lang. For him to be like, yeah, he sucks, he's not funny, just like, fuck off.
He did get earnest, though.
Oh,
He wasn't being an asshole the entire time. He does actually have a human soul inside of him, contrary to popular belief.
What are some examples of that?
Well, he's like, well, he remembers all the shit that happened, and I remember it too, and so I kind of felt bad for him a little bit.
What do you mean stuff that happened? What stuff that happened?
Just the whole Stern show.
He was like, oh, it gets serious when they throw trash on your lawn.
Oh my God. Well, this is when I confronted him. When I was like, John, there's a whole industry of people based around you that very few people have.
Right.
Are goofing on you, but why don't you try to lean into that and embrace that and try to make
he hates that advice. He hates that.
What he said?
And he's like, and he goes, I'm not about hate, I'm about love.
And I'd love another beer.
and I'd love another bucket of Michelob Ultra. Let's go!
All right. Is there what else? Any other highlights from the conversation that you wanted to tell us about?
We were talking about William Shatner at one point.
Yeah, we were. Well, we were going through all kinds of old Stern bits, and he's not. I don't believe he's an evil man, but he is. We had a theory that he's potentially one of the greatest actors of all time, and he was faking this whole thing on a ruse, on a 40-year ruse. But after meeting him in person, I know for a fact that is not true.
And the stutter. The
stutter could easily be fake. That's up for debate.
That is up for debate.
But
was he stuttering at all when you were talking to him?
Of course, but it was all scripted.
No. He wasn't stuttering. He gave us a fucking splash zone waterfall of spit.
Sputtering.
That's right to me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we were talking about it'd be funny if his name was Drooling John instead of Stuttering John.
Soaked. He was saying something. I don't remember what he was saying, but he spit on us. It was so much volume. The volume was crazy.
What kind of questions would he ask you guys about you?
He was like,
how much pussy do you get?
Okay, I believe that.
He did ask us that. Ask us that.
Other than that, not really anything.
He was like, "What'd you think of Honora?"
Yeah, what'd you think of Honora?
You don't watch the new movie,
You
right?
gotta watch that. You don't even. You gotta use the squeegee maneuver after Honora. We're like, nice, John.
Oh, he was referencing his stand-up set.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
They call that a callback.
Yeah.
Did he talk about his trolls at all or complain about anyone in the Dabbleverse?
Well, yes. When I pressed him on it, yes. He was like, those people are weird. I don't understand why they do that. And when you get death threats to your family, he was screaming.
Oh, he started getting fired up.
Yes, he started screaming in my ear. And now this is also partially my fault because we were talking about the Howard Stern show and how the modern Howard Stern show is terrible. And, I said, they have Richard and Sal like doing gay stuff, and I used the F word. And when I used the F word, he looked at me like he was ready to fucking put a gun to my head. Which,
You gotta understand, he's a very liberal man. He doesn't like that type of language.
Well, we told him that we were liberal too.
Well, he found out the truth when you let that slip. Apparently,
He never found out anything.
Did you ask him about is he coming back to the Dabbleverse? Did you have any conversations about the Dabbleverse with them, or not really?
I mean, we talked a little bit about Aaron Imholt. He kind of had no idea about any of that at all.
Didn't know what it was.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I know Aaron Emmall. You know, he got caught doing all these drugs with Nick Rekieta. And he was just like, I have none of that. I have no idea what any of that is.
How is that possible? He asked April to be on his show. And he's completely forgotten that entire thing. He knew about that shit.
He's feigning ignorance. Listen, we're supplying him his Michelob Ultras. He's not going to tell us, anything.
Right. Okay. So he's pretty guarded.
Who does he think you are when he's ranting to you about the people in the Dabbleverse? Who does he think he's talking to?
Some young bucks doing nothing.
Fans.
Did you ever feel like he was hitting on you?
No.
Do you think in the beginning he asked you that because he wanted to see where you fell, if how this evening was going to go?
Why did he immediately invite us into his car?
He did offer us a ride home after the fact.
He insisted, and then the first thing he asked is, so you guys get a lot of girls? Is that you two?
He also was.
He did ask us.
He did ask you that.
And
Just get in the back seat. It's easier. Just get in the back seat. It's much easier. The doors don't open from in there, but it's cleaner.
Don't mind the pills.
The Klonopin pile is not your concern.
Help yourself to any if you like.
So you guys closed the bar down with John. He was there until 2 a.m. with you guys?
Big time.
Okay. And then he drove off to Scott the engineer's house after that?
No, not Scott the
He went to
engineer.
Jimmy's.
Yeah, some other comedian who also opened for him.
Oh, okay. So he was staying with another guy.
Yeah,
Somewhat funny.
not really.
Much funnier than John.
No, much funnier than John. Right, yeah. Well, John's not a comedian. He's more of a one-man play.
Oh, tell them about the firm. Tell them about the firm.
Oh, my God. He's like, you guys, you got to watch the firm. We're like,
Oh, my
what?
God.
You got to watch the firm.
A Nor in the firm. So how does the evening end? How does he leave, and how does he go off, and how do you go off? Are there hugs? Does he ask for money?
We took a picture.
Did he charge you for it?
Of course.
Yeah, we paid for the beers.
Yeah, you guys
You're
earned
right.
your keep.
You did.
Yeah, he never pulled his wallet out once at the bar.
No, fuck no. What?
What a night.
You
He
guys
left it in his
got me,
car.
right?
Yeah, two buckets of 6 Michelobs each.
Something like that.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Whatever. Doesn't matter. The
And you
point-
guys just left at the same time? Did he interact with anybody? Did he leave with anybody else? Or
No, he got back.
We
in
did
the
see
van.
Jackie's daughter at the end too.
She came to the bar. That's right, and complimented him.
So they just said last call, and he finished his beer and went, all right, guys, see ya, and hopped in his car and took off.
No, we were like, all right, we've had fucking enough mental anguish for the night, and we took off.
Okay.
wow,
That's what happened.
that's interesting.
So he was still there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, well, the bar's closed. He's not staying there.
Yeah. My brother.
I can only assume he got back in the Benz and drove back to fucking. No, his friend in Boca that's staying there. They
Yeah.
stay there. Who he was doing the show from his place.
My brother texted me like halfway through. I have like an older brother. He was like, I was telling him, I'm with John right now. And he goes, oh, ask him about his lines in Osmosis Jones.
Ugh.
And I asked him about it. He goes, yeah, I mean, like, it was great, but like, they cut out a lot of my lines. You have no idea.
My greatness. They excluded my greatness.
How would anyone know he was in Osmosis? John, how did your brother know that? Did he look up on the internet or something?
No, his brother knows everything.
Yeah, my brother knows everything. I didn't
Because
even know that either. So.
He has one line in Osmosis Jones. Someone said it to me
Literally.
recently. Yeah, literally one line. And he's not even featured. If you look at the credits of the actors, you can't even find his name anywhere. So that's a deep pull. All right, guys. Well, thank you for having a fun night with John and telling us about it.
All right.
Do you mind if I ask one last question? When
Yeah,
you were
please.
when you were turning your friend on to the Dabbleverse, what did you play him? What did you use to introduce him?
Ooh, good question.
The immediate YouTube recommendations, which was just like John stuff from the last couple months, and then we went back to old Stern stuff where he was getting accused of the exact same shit as now: lying, stealing, cheating.
Specifically, it was the stockbroker conversation
which I asked him about.
He's like, oh, well, Howard goes like, so you get a call from a guy and he's talking to you and he says, so John, I got this nice stock. Like you want to
on a company phone.
Yeah, you want to get in on this? And
he goes, well, what is it?
Do you have a copy of the picture that you guys took with John? Can we see that?
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah,
pull it up on your phone.
And by the way, John was like, they were IPOs. It was different.
It wasn't. It's not a stock. It's an IPO.
It's an IPO.
Which
He's
is
still arguing his case.
Yes.
As if he's still talking to Howard Stern about it.
40 years ago.
That's hilarious. Well, I'm glad you guys had fun, and I'm glad you were able
it was an
to report
absolute-
back to
Well,
us.
you know, I didn't. I mean, it kind of haunted me for a week. I was kind of like depressed. I was like, Jesus Christ. It was
Yeah,
really.
you didn't reach out to me right away. It took you a few days to reach out.
Here's us and John.
Oh, look at that. Memories. Is he on his tippy toes there? I don't think he is.
No.
Okay.
We're both 6 foot, so he's 5'7". That's pretty accurate.
Okay. All right. Well,
Legend, the god.
Grant and Tom, thank you guys both for coming on and regaling us with these tales.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We
For
really
sure.
appreciate it.
All right. Good to talk to you. Take care. Anything you want to promote or plug?
No, we're banned off everything.
All right. Let me get the hell off of my channel. Jesus Christ.
She really buried the lead there. It was right at the end that he was like, yeah, it just kind of made me sad and I needed a week to recover from it. Jesus.
Because he just reached out to me recently. That was, 2 weeks ago now, or a week and a half ago. So I wanted to play a little bit more of John's set, and I'm not going to play stuff that we've heard before.
Okay.
At least to my knowledge, this is all, it's not new material, but it's different from what we've heard from his other stuff. And so he's talking about his stutter, which we've always made the point, like, why doesn't he have more jokes about his stutter? It seems like a no-brainer, Stuttering John.
But I do stutter. You know, some people don't believe it's real. Like I faked it. But this way, if I was going to choose a disorder, it would not be stuttering.
Okay.
It would be like Alzheimer's, so I could forget the fact that I'm fucking here. No, but I do stutter.
And you will forget the fact that you were there.
What a horrible joke that is. It's like, if I was going to pick an affliction, you're like, okay, where are you going with this? Alzheimer's. And I don't know that's going to work because a lot of people have had to deal with people with Alzheimer's. It's very depressing.
Yeah, he's in Florida.
Right. Yes, all these people are just like, yeah, we left dad at home. We're hoping he's all right. He's bringing that up.
And that place that he's talking about is a place that they're at, too, at the moment.
Right.
And
They
this
chose
is
to pay money to be there. So
maybe the
right.
third or fourth cheap, boring joke he's made about being in a place that sucks. Like, we got it, John. We got it.
Now, this is a made-up story.
I mean, last night some girl comes up to me at the bar. She goes, John, stutter for me. That's like going up to a cripple and saying limp for me. It's like asking a leper for a piece of their arm.
I think we're hearing Grant and Tom chuckle in the background. That was not well thought out.
No.
So this is where it gets real hacky.
And when I was staying, I swear to Christ, I was staying at that fucking Harrah's in Vegas. They put me up in the goddamn handicap room. Now listen, I stutter. I can fucking walk. I don't need the guardrails and stool in the goddamn shower. And it's weird because all the light sockets are waist high. I'd be in the shower. I'd be worried I'm gonna come out, slip, and electrocute my penis.
Hacky. Because the outlets are waist high.
Yeah.
So he thought he was going to slip and electrocute his penis.
His penis
was going to fit into an electrical outlet.
Look, we've all been there.
Because it was waist high.
It's happened to every one of us.
Pretty good stuff, huh?
Mm-hmm. Relatable.
This one I think is interesting because a couple of people laugh at the setup. So they think that it's a joke, and I don't think it's meant to be a joke.
I was the keynote speaker at the National Stuttering Association convention in Chicago the year after Joe Biden. And let me tell you something. I gave a great hour-long speech.
The year after Joe Biden, like, oh, okay, right, Joe Biden, that's good. No, I think he's being honest about that.
That's why he got loud there. He's trying to cover up their laughter.
Yes. He's like, no, we're not laughing about Joe Biden right now. Let's stop that. You guys want to hear a bomb?
Mm-hmm.
Carly Simon is, he's talking about other famous stutterers. He brings up Carly Simon.
Another stutterer, one of the first people I've ever interviewed, Carly Simon. And I think that song, Warren Beatty, I think, helped her with anticipation. He was like, spit the fucking thing out already.
I mean, it's not a good joke, but that delivery. Holy shit.
The silence is deafening.
Yeah. Let's hear that punchline again. That's fun.
Spit the fucking thing out already.
think I heard a drink order.
I think I heard someone take a sip from across the room.
They're all drunk, and I think it's like a band that's playing loudly. They're just drunk and feeling it. And
Yeah.
a lot of what he does is slow and has the rhythm of comedy. So he really, shows you where to laugh, and he leads it up. So they're just kind of drunk and going with it and half listening, and they hear like, the small penis. Yeah. And then you hear that last joke. People started to laugh, but then he just got monstrous, and they oh shit. Every once in a while, he has some delivery that's like really dark or fractured, or it just falls off a cliff, and he rocks them out of their stupor. They have to stop having fun.
Yeah.
Look, the fuck is happening?
What are we
over there?
doing here? Who is this guy on stage? What am I watching right now?
And what they're seeing and witnessing is horrible. He thinks his delivery is not a part of comedy.
Correct. Well, he also thinks he's an entertainer. And when he does the elephant tusk thing and he does his skull and stuff, he thinks all of that is entertaining because he has no understanding of what it is to be a compelling, dynamic performer. Apparently, James Earl Jones had a stutter. And John's got a joke for this, guys. This is actually incredible because he uses the same formula that Artie Lang and Anthony Cumia use for John, but he does it wrong.
Can you imagine how that scene could have gone? Luke, I am your... Luke, I am your... Luke, I am your... Daddy!
You wouldn't start the sentence over every time. No. I'm your dad. Like that's kind of the Porky Pig thing that people do for stutterers. And it's the most obvious thing possible. Imagine how that scene would have gone. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so dumb. You expect there's going to be a twist, and there's no. It's like anti-comedy.
There has to be a twist.
Yeah.
It can't be the thing that we're all thinking. Oh, it is. It's the thing that we're all thinking. Fuck.
He thinks it's an act. It's his acting is gonna
Right.
take us through this bit.
All right. And again, these references. We were talking about a Carly Simon song from the 70s. We're talking about Empire Strikes Back from 1980. Everything is in his childhood, and he's an old guy, so it's not really hitting with normal people. Well, then he starts talking about his parents. I don't know if I've heard this one before. You guys tell me.
I got a Puerto Rican dad and a Danish mom. I'm a Danish spick, I'm a dick. I steal clogs. No one ever gets that. But it's okay. But my father was very cheap.
He goes, he's Puerto Rican and Danish, so he steals clogs. No one ever gets that. Or it's not funny. John's sense of Puerto Ricans is worse than anyone else's. Every time he makes jokes about Puerto Ricans, I was just like, ooh, what do you mean by that? What the fuck? But he's a Danish spick, which is a dick. What do you think about that, Adam? Oh, you're muted, buddy.
I think he doesn't even identify as a Spanish person or a Puerto Rican or a Danish person or a stutterer. They're all just shields. He doesn't say anything about except the most base, simple references to them. He doesn't ever really talk about what life is like as a stutterer. The only time he brings up stuttering is to paint himself as a hero or a victim and someone to pity and sympathize. That's it. He doesn't take us through. He doesn't offer any real suggestions. He's not even Puerto Rican. It's never once been a part of any way he defines himself in his music, in his interviews. He's never once said, oh, I have something in common with you because you're Puerto Rican, other than just, catchphrases and low-hanging fruit about having lots of kids.
Yes, he loves to do that. Puerto Rican disappointment. Only have 3 kids. All right. You just heard him say that his dad was cheap. This leads to a whole bit that he does.
It's very cheap, man. For instance, I don't know what your parents, don't forget, this is before the internet. Our parents were like, they didn't know what they were doing. My father's idea for any ailment, broken arm, whatever, was zinc ointment. Always zinc ointment. And when you open a jar, it was the same fucking 3 toothpicks in the zinc ointment. Oh, you got to cut fucking zinc ointment. You got to burn zinc ointment. And when you open that jar for anything, it was like playing in Russian roulette. You didn't know which one was used for my brother's hemorrhoids or which was used for my sister's yeast infection. My father was a cheap bastard. Every fucking holiday, the beer he served, the born on day was BC.
Hacker.
But my father was so cheap.
That zinc ointment thing, I don't even understand that one.
No, did he say toothpicks?
Yeah, there's 3 toothpicks, so it's Russian roulette if it was used on the yeast infection, and his brother now has hemorrhoids for some reason.
They're contagious.
It just sounds like Opie saying skunk fart to me. He's
Yeah.
just like saying words.
Just saying gross stuff to gross you out, and
It's like
his-
garbage pail kids. That's their act.
It doesn't even make sense to me. I've never used zinc ointment, so I don't know what that is. But could you grab a different toothpick or applicator? You don't have to use the ones that are in there, right? Anyway, it's the dumbest joke. No one responded to it. No one could relate to it. No one understood what was going on. But now he gets into his father is so cheap bit that he has.
But my father was so cheap.
How cheap was he?
Come on, guys. This is the part of the set where we have some audience participation. Skoda! Steven, my man, you think you can get me a beer?
Oof.
Because I can't perform without alcohol.
And his dad was cheap.
Someone was laughing, but that was real right there. He's like, I got it empty, so
There was a groan too.
Show's over if we don't get a beer up here.
You heard it go from like laughter to, oh, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, definitely. The whole thing where he needs everyone to yell, how cheap was he? We all gave up on that in the 70s. I'm pretty sure that's when all of America went, yeah, we're not doing that anymore.
That
John's
is
bring-
15, 20 seconds of his act. You can't just cut. You can't just remove
Oh, it's
that.
more than that, Adam. He's got more coming here.
You know, I work with comics now that drink lattes. What the fuck happened? This is supposed to be a party here. What the hell? Lattes. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, my father
That was a great joke.
was so cheap.
How cheap was it?
Can we get him on fucking sync here? Jesus, this is... What the fuck? Are you all from Jersey?
Call back.
My father was so cheap.
How cheap was he?
He was so cheap. His idea of a trust fund was, John, you'll get nothing, trust me.
All of that build up for the trust fund joke. Fuck me. I mean, we're over a minute in to just the setup for this. 1:09 just to hear that.
My father was so cheap.
How cheap was
He
he?
needs this every time. He needs to do this call and answer thing each time he does this.
He doesn't know how to tell the joke without doing it.
Obviously.
He started correcting them before they even responded. Like, he hadn't even listened to them before. He's like, oh, come on, give me more. It's like a bar mitzvah DJ.
He was so cheap when he and my mom would go grocery shopping and she would ask him to pick up her favorite diet soda in the pink can. He would refuse because he didn't want to pick up the tab. Oh, fuck off, Jersey boy.
So that joke was so bad. Everyone saw it coming from a mile away. The delivery was piss poor, Tom Myers style, too many words. Like, just get to pick up the tab. Diet soda, pick up the tab. That's it. You don't have to talk about the color can. We're all going to get it. We're already ahead of you before you even get there. So don't worry about that.
The setup being this preface that a person has to say something they would never, ever say. And it just immediately makes you not trust this setup and not like the joke. It's no
My
one says, get me
father.
that thing in the pink can.
My father was so cheap. All right, one more part of this cheap bit, and then we'll move on with our lives.
I'll redeem myself. Don't worry. I just figured you guys would know tab, right?
Oh,
all right.
He's still scolding the audience for not laughing at that joke. It's right back to the clogs thing. It's like nobody ever laughs. No one ever gets this one. No, they're just not laughing at it.
You already told him to fuck off over this joke.
Yeah, you'll get the tab joke on your way home. No, we got it, John.
That's exactly what he would say, though. You just nailed his mental state. He would never go, this joke doesn't work. He'd say, you people never get this.
Over their heads.
10 years I've been telling this joke, and you never get it.
Fucking idiots.
I'll redeem myself. Don't worry. I just figured you guys would know tab, right? All right. My father was so cheap.
How cheap was he?
He was so his favorite board game to play with us when we were kids was the Monopoly because he loved the free pong. All right, didn't like that one either. We'll try another one. My father was so cheap.
How cheap was he?
He was so cheap, he married my mom on February 29th, so he only had to buy a fucking anniversary gift once every 4 years. Come on, bro! Skoda!
That's how you know the bit is over.
Wow, the audience, you got to hear them get the joke way before he even finished it.
He could have just said February 29th. Got it.
Got it. Yep.
Totally understand. And that was so that, because on anniversaries, you have to buy gifts for your spouse. It's tradition.
I mean, I don't, but, allegedly this is a thing.
Anyway, comics are drinking lattes. How about that?
How about that?
What the fuck?
Those, Dad is so cheap. Like, you could open up a joke book and get those jokes out of it. They'd be better written.
They're definitely shorter.
Even the Monopoly one.
Yeah.
Back when we would play a board game when we were kids, his favorite game to play was his favorite board game is Monopoly because of free parking.
Yep.
That's it. Not funny, but better. I improved it. That's all you got to say.
And in his mind, he thinks he's going for I know these aren't the best jokes, but I'll do a Jackie-style rapid delivery. But he's incapable of the rapid delivery. So it's only the first couple words that are fast, and then it just all kind of crumbles, or he runs out of air or out of, voice, and it just falls apart. It's really embarrassing.
It's really embarrassing that in 2025, he's doing "my dad was so cheap" jokes and making the audience participate in that. Not a comic.
And he still doesn't notice. If he actually wasn't so drunk and just slowed down and paid attention, he would notice that whenever he accidentally says something real in between his written jokes, they get big laughs. Like even when he just said right then, okay, that didn't work. How about this one? It got a real, genuine laugh.
Yeah.
And then he squandered that with whatever his next line was. But every once in a while, like the fuck off gets a laugh sometimes when he's being real about it. The alcohol, I need alcohol.
Least funny person I've ever met. You are not funny.
Okay.
You're obnoxious. You're not funny.
It goes back to what Howard said, not to cut you off.
Yeah,
it goes back to what Howard said a long time ago. You're funny when you're not trying to be. And
It
John
goes
will
back to
never
what I
figure
said
that out.
earlier. Those guys in the backseat of the car, that's the show we want to see. And they got to see it. I'm so glad we got to hear that from them because I want to see that show.
Didn't know how to navigate to the bar down the street. He was completely flustered.
I was curious about that. So he couldn't do left or right on a Florida, 2-lane highway. Were they in fear of their lives because they said he was already banged up?
Yeah, they said he was holding it together.
Yeah. Okay.
So it sounds to me like John probably shouldn't be operating a vehicle that evening, but
How has he gotten away with this night after night after night of drunk
He's
driving?
usually home. He doesn't have gigs that often. He's usually pounding beer on his couch, so it's fine. Don wanted to know how bad are the odors. We did ask about that. They said the car was fine, which is shocking. If I had taken cats across the country and they were pissing and shitting in my car, I would burn it. There's nothing you could do to fix that. Pinky's Bicky $2 says, did y'all see the pic of SJ's bed? It's frightening. I did. It looks like a turd on the floor.
Mm-hmm. And if you zoom in on the side of the bed, have you done that? I highly recommend it. I'm sure Cardiff has. It is.
What are those stains?
It was like when the photographs came back from the James Webb Telescope and we discovered there were so many more galaxies than we ever imagined. It was like, what is all that human carbon on there?
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack looking at John's house. Sonny Melendez says, Tukia's vid from inside SJ's house, did you see?
No.
I have seen clips of it, yes.
Yes, played it last night.
Carl, can you get full vid of inside Drunkie's house? I'm sure that I can, Sonny Melendez. Thank you for that.
I want to see that.
We'll check it out. The one pun, did he go to sleep in his car and cuddle a beer can? The guys left before they could witness that, so we don't know, unfortunately. Rocco Orb says, if it's not a 40-hour cameo, Stuttering John forbids video recording. That's true. It's very upset about that. Very shy. Fantastica. Have them show the picture. Oh, you did that.
I mean, it is worth noting that John has put every ounce of effort possible to making sure that none of these shows get recorded and leaked. And every show has gotten recorded and leaked. Maybe he can just let it go.
Even the one that only one guy knew who he was who went to the show, and that was the one guy recording. Don Dada. So John was drunk driving. I'm shocked, I tell you. I know. Who would have thought? Guys, thanks for supporting the show. We appreciate it. Supertip.gg/WATP is where you can go to participate with our new AI voices. I got Opie and Anthony stuff coming up. Very interesting week in the world of Opie and Anthony. But before that, I got to play you this bit that happened on the Howard Stern show. So basically what's happening on this bit that they're doing is that Gary Delabate went to this vinyl museum.
Baba Booey.
Baba Booey.
Yeah. Okay.
And you know that Gary's a big fan of vinyl. He has many pieces of vinyl in his collection. And so they sent along this guy, John Blitt, who's part of the show too, to record Gary at this vinyl museum. And the whole point of this is to show that Gary won't shut up about his vinyl and needs to talk about records that he enjoys and stuff. So they can get back to Howard, and then Howard can be like, Gary, you're such an idiot. All you do is talk about your vinyl. So I'll give you a little clip on here that I think sums up the fact that Gary's kind of over this. They've been doing this bit for 30 some years, maybe 40 years at this point, where it's like, oh, Gary, you're really into your hobby. How lame. And here's an example.
I think Gary wanted the guy to know that he knew about the Jimi Hendrix album, that he didn't want to just sit there and let the guy have his moment. I think that's what was, am I right, Gary? You wanted the guy to know that you know something?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I figured. It's hard for Gary not to show off his knowledge of vinyl.
It's hard for Gary to even play along at this point. Gary, you're just being a jackass, right?
If you say so.
Yep. That's it. That's it, Howard. You got me. And they're playing these audio clips. It's not a good bit. My buddy Mike turned me on to this. He guys said they've been building this up for a while. But it's like, yeah, they just picked the clips that have Gary talking a lot. And even Gary's just like, yeah, I mean, the guy was showing us stuff and I was letting him talk too, but you're not going to play those clips, so whatever.
Is Gary at Sirius? Gary's at the station, right?
I would think so, yeah. I think everyone's there but Howard and Robin. But this is the real reason why I'm playing this, is because they're talking to John Blitt. He's the one who has the clips for this, and he let something come out that we've all been suspicious of.
And combine that with Gary's love of just gabbing. It's unbelievable.
Howard, you may zone out, but I zone in. I zone in when Gary's.
I'm sure you do.
I do.
Play us some clips. Give us an idea what this was.
Oh, hang on a second. I don't have the script in front of me.
Jeez. Oh, script. We actually have a script. That's awesome.
There is a script. Yeah.
I'll be sure to get one too, so I can follow this.
Howard,
I could start this. I was watching CBS Sunday Morning, and I saw this guy.
Gary to the rescue. Wow, the word script comes out, and you heard Howard immediately like, oh, there's a script. Oh, yeah, it's funny. Let me grab my script too.
Yeah, and I can start this? That's not how a natural conversation begins.
No.
I can get this going and get us to the right point on the page so we can all follow along now.
And John Blitt was never brought back.
Yeah, that's probably the last time we'll
never
ever
hear
hear
of John Blitt again.
It was never found again.
Is that pretty wild that the word script finally came out? It's something that we've all been speculating on for some time, but
whoops.
Oopsie.
It shows you there's no space for anything spontaneous to even happen ever, because it doesn't, it's impossible. There is nothing organic.
I forgot my buddy Mike, who I was in Texas with a couple weeks ago, and he still listens to the show. We were having a conversation. This might have been going back a month or so, where he was telling me about an organic thing that happened on the Stern show. He goes, Carl, you wouldn't believe it. This caller called in, and then this person came into the room. I forget what it was, but he was blown away that it seemed like something organic was happening on the Howard Stern show. How weird is that?
That's crazy.
That's actually off-putting. Like, whoa, what's going on here? This wasn't planned. They're just doing a thing.
One of the biggest takeaways I had from the one time I got to go on the Howard Stern show was you could not tell when the commercial was over and when the show started, because it just happened so naturally. There was no shift. There was no countdown. There was no, oh, we're on now.
No
Whatever
shit.
conversation was happening just started and continued. And, no one had to say, hold on, where are we? I'll start this thing.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's actually very interesting. I must have been a blast to be there.
Yeah, I mean, it was like Mad Magazine in terms of it's just like I hoped it would be. Look at that.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about our buddy Opie.
Ba, 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 ba.
Now,
I
before
will
we
not
get
sit here for you trashing Opie. Subreddit surfing Patreon only show. Bye.
Bye, Cardiff. Okay. So before the news came out that we're going to talk about in just a little bit, the question was, because Anthony finally debuted on WABC Sunday night. Everyone's been talking about this, always been talking about it a lot. And so the question comes in, hey, Opie, did you listen to your buddy Anthony's debut on WABC?
Did you listen to Ant's show? Anne Hathaway fan? No, of course not. Why would I? Well, I guess if you work with someone for over 20 years and they're making their comeback to part-time AM radio in the middle of the night on a Sunday, you would think there'd be some interest there just to, take a peek, take a listen. I couldn't be bothered. No. How did he do? I would assume he did well.
He couldn't be bothered. Did you listen? Of course not. Couldn't be bothered. This is all you've been talking about. All the videos you're putting up are about this. You don't think you'd want to be prepared and have some information? By the way, thanks to Doom for pulling this clip. Appreciate you, buddy.
You would think the only reason he would choose not to watch it is so when people asked him about it, he could say, I didn't watch it. I have no comment. Instead, he says, I didn't watch it, but I will talk about it for the next hour and a half.
He
passionately.
He does, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Please comment on Ant's triumphant return to broadcast radio. I didn't watch or listen, whatever. I didn't listen. I probably should have listened because it would have made this live stream fantastic, but I simply couldn't be bothered.
Isn't that incredible right there? Opie even caught himself realizing, this is what everyone's going to be talking about on my Monday morning stream. This thing just happened last night, and I don't have anything for it. And people are giving me money to ask me what I thought about it, and I don't know.
He didn't know this was going to happen.
He said.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He didn't know this was going to come up. He had no idea.
He's trying to act like he's better than it.
It's like his rule of no show prep applies to like everything. He's prepared to talk about daylight savings. He had a whole rant about that. He was ready to go. But this,
yeah, because he gets up before the sun comes up. So I'd be annoyed by daylight savings too if I were him. But this is why Opie is a failure. I mean, we've been outlining this for quite a while. So I didn't watch any NBA games last night. Not a single one. And if the chat came on and asked me about the Cavaliers, I wouldn't engage because I don't know. Did they play well? Who's even on their team? I have no idea. I don't watch that shit. Opie comes on and goes, I couldn't be bothered to watch that, and then spends his entire show talking about it. It's like, why wouldn't you think that maybe you should be semi-prepared to put on a good show that people will want to watch and engage with, and will get clipped, people will play these clips and get your take on it? But no, he is not impressed.
Oh, he's doing 2 hours a week, WABC radio, 8 at night to 10, right? 8 to 10, I believe, was the shift. That's a nothing burger. But with that said, I mean, if they're putting him there to see how he does, test shows, we're thinking of giving you a full-time gig here, but let's start you, at a real shitty time on the weekends, just to see how it goes. And then if this leads to him maybe getting a real shift, then it starts getting impressive.
Okay. So I hope he's not impressed yet. He's not impressed enough to listen because it's not a good shift and it's a part-time gig. And so he's kind of dismissing it for that, which is hilarious considering what we all know is going to happen here, that Anthony gets offered syndication less than 48 hours after his first show airs. And we'll play the reaction of Opie there because you'd think he'd be like, I'm impressed, Like, wow, I didn't see that happening so quick. That's
a few moments later.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Also,
But
he says he had to pretend to be a bad actor. He mentioned the exact station and the exact time it's on, and then had to add or whatever. I don't
or
really
whatever
know. Yeah.
in the middle of the night on a Sunday night, 8 to 10.
And that
WABC.
made me realize: is that why he does this so early? Because he thinks this is the coveted morning radio slot?
Yes.
That's insanity.
Everything he does, and I have the clip of Anthony talking about this, everything Opie is doing is to try to get back on the radio.
Wow.
This is why he gets up at this early before the kids are even up and does this show.
Doesn't say anything very edgy.
Wake up with Opie.
But I mean,
Still
the whole
showing he can do
reason
it.
he would say he doesn't like politics is because this side's just going to toe that line and that side's just going to toe that line. Well, you're the guy saying I know everything about this radio show I haven't seen. Now I'm going to give my opinion on it.
Yeah. Probably should have researched this.
The new show was beyond sad and just meh. Well, I probably should have. I probably should have listened. I probably would have had a lot to say about it.
Probably not. But yes, you should have listened. I highly doubt you'd have a lot to say about it. How the fuck does this guy not know to listen to Anthony's show and give him a week's worth of material? He could have been teasing shit. Monday, be like, yeah, I listened to it. I'm going to break down hour 2 on tomorrow's show. Whatever. He could have been like dragging this out.
To me,
I'm still playing Stuttering John stand-up for the Boca Black Box. You see how this works, Opie?
He's making it more and more clear that it would hurt him to listen to it.
Yes.
Correct. Yes. It bothers him. And so what Opie has to do, in order to make it seem like this is an embarrassing thing that Anthony's doing, he has to always bring it back to the money. Because Opie can't say that Ant's a bad broadcaster, that this isn't miraculous, that he's back on radio. He just has to make fun of him for not making a lot of money at it.
I mean, with all the money he's making, and he only has a 2-hour shift, my God, the commercial load must have been crazy, though. If he's making all that money, 2 hours on AM radio, they had to have 20, 30 minutes of commercials to try to pay his salary, right? Hell yeah. Barrister, I'm sorry. I just didn't listen. I have literally nothing to say about that. I mean, I have a lot to say about AM radio in general. You know that I got a new car recently.
Okay. So Opie is the one who believed the chat when they said it was $300,000 a year. So he's just like, wow, if it's a 2-hour shift, I was making all that money. Was it like 20, 30 minutes of commercials? Well, first off, yeah. If you listen to AM radio, yeah, that is accurate. It would be that much commercial time for sure. But someone finally points out to Opie that Anthony's never bragged about the money he's making from WABC. Money was never a part of this. And Opie has to acknowledge that finally.
You realize Anthony never talked money. Anthony never talked money with this new ABC deal. You let a troll who made ass up get to you, and now you keep repeating the numbers like they actually came from Anthony. Okay, thank you, Brooklyn guy. Well, thanks for correcting that, okay? My bad.
And after that, Opie goes on to admit that he doesn't watch stuff, so he gets information from other people, and he runs with it, and sometimes it's false information. And he even says, I should be consuming this content so that I know what I'm talking about. But there's never a thing where he's like, I'm going to change my ways and actually do that. He never says, yeah, from now on, I'm not listening to the chat. I'm going to find out the information and come with it. He just goes, yeah, people tell me shit, and I roll with it. And sometimes it's wrong. Yeah, could he fix that or correct it? Nope. No plan on that at all.
Which is why he's so lost, because he'll never understand or learn or, even just watch and get a proper example that he's ruining this all for himself every single day. It's always the people in a certain group, when one of them has success, people have a response that's either, I hate that person, they don't deserve this, I deserve this, or they go, well, if my friend is being successful, then that means I probably will too. Like, Opie, isn't this the greatest thing to ever happen to you? Don't you need this to go well? Don't you have an invested interest in this being the most successful thing ever so that people are like, we got to get another one of those? Yep. Instead, you're sitting here on the air every day saying, I would never do an AM radio show. Why would I want to? They can't pay me enough. I'm expensive, and I wouldn't enjoy it because I don't like doing this when it's not for money. Opie, you're doing this not for money right now as you're saying this. It's crazy stuff. He's convincing everyone to never hire him ever again and digging his own grave.
Adam, I was going to play this clip next, but I think this summarizes that perfectly.
And I mean, no, I have not. Would I entertain an offer at this point? I would listen, I guess. Yeah, what do you got? I would listen, I guess.
So the question came up, have you gotten any offers from radio stations? And he's like, no, I haven't. He's like, I guess I would entertain an offer maybe if it came up. And you're right. He wants a radio gig. Everything he's doing is showing you he wants to be employed again. And he's doing everything he can to make sure that no one will ever offer him a radio gig.
He would say to them, what do you got? Opie, what have you got? Like, they're looking for TikTok followers. They're looking for engagement. They're looking for topics. What have you got? You've dwindled all that down to nothing. Your eyes won't even open anymore. You don't have a face.
And Anthony even said, because the reason why I took this opportunity was to bet on myself. Because I know if I can get my foot in the door that I could grow this thing, because he understands he's a good broadcaster and what his potential would be. Opie, I think, understands what a terrible broadcaster he is. So he needs a deal that's going to pay him as much money as possible up front because he knows it's not going to last. Whereas Anthony's looking at it just the opposite. He's like, well, if I get a Sunday night shift, who knows?
Yeah, I could grow this thing.
Yeah, right. So Anthony came on his show that Monday. So this was Monday morning. Opie reacting. Anthony watched this, came on his show.
He sits down and does this thing, this podcast for 20, 30 people. And he proceeds to start talking, the comments he gets get him revved up. And we all know it. And the trolls know it. So they get on and they start posting these things like, hey, did you listen to Anthony on ABC last night? No, I didn't listen. Why? Why would I listen to that? I'm like, oh boy. I listen. I watch. I see what these guys are up to. Why wouldn't I? It's such a phony thing to just go, yeah, I don't listen. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't have the time. You don't have the time. You're up at 3 a.m. in front of a camera.
Yeah, it's worse than that. He said he couldn't be bothered. The one thing he knows people want to talk to him about, and he couldn't be bothered.
I'd love to see the activities that he was doing while he couldn't be bothered.
He was watching a TV show with his wife. He told us. He's like, yeah, I forget what the show was. He's just like, yeah, we've been binging the show, so we watched that instead.
Can't be bothered to do anything.
Can't be bothered.
Chris, you said it. He can't. It's like looking at an ex with their, new partner. Yeah. He doesn't want to see it. It hurts him. But how is he then pulling all these clips and then labeling it with Anthony's name over and over again? Like, this is a prison. He is trapped in a torturous prison that he can't get out of. He knows he's going to have to answer to this stuff on Monday, and he can't bring himself to look. So he'll just close his eyes and kind of make sounds and hope that it all goes away. And we can go back to talking about what, Opie? What would you now like to be talking about once all of this is out of the way? This is the only thing you have any passion or emotion for. You told us all you don't think this job is worth it unless you're getting paid an obscene amount. Well, that's why Anthony's working now and you're not, because he spent the last 10 years like an athlete working out, knowing he might be too old to get back in the ring, but if I'm in shape, at least I have a chance. So he cultivated a brand, an attitude. He engaged online with younger people that had different opinions. He appeared on shows so that when they came for him, he had a whole world already built. And it wasn't just like, we like your talking. You also have this presence. We could use it. WABC has like 30,000 followers online. Anthony has 250,000 and younger people. His audience actually skewers younger to WABC. That's what he's been doing while you've been not paying attention in your penthouse for the last decade.
Well, I got to stop you right there, Adam. You say you don't know what Opie would be talking about. He was talking about how the weather's been nice lately in New York and fishing season's coming up soon. Can't wait to get out fishing again.
I mean, I heard about this daylight savings change forever. It was just the biggest thing to happen to him. It's like when you visit grandma and she's like, oh, let me tell you this story. And that's the thing that happened that week. A man came by and it was the wrong door.
Yeah, he talked about how he was on an elevator and talking about the weather with a guy on the fucking elevator. I'm like, this guy is doing nothing in his life. He's so lonely and bored.
Mm-hmm. But meanwhile, all of this exciting stuff is happening all around him. And if he and he's the guy we want to hear it from. If he actually did the Kumi's Cuck show, that would be interesting. I don't want to hear about it from him. I want to hear about it from Opie.
It's such a perfect opportunity for Opie to go on here and just review Anthony's show, review the radio show, just totally embrace it. He would have probably 5x as many viewers as we do watching his streams.
If he didn't hide or, if he wasn't too afraid or lazy to have any beliefs, if he actually said, I'm a liberal and I like liberal stuff, and he just went down that route, wouldn't it be funny for a liberal AM station to hire Opie? Wouldn't that get some news, regardless of how untalented he was? Just that move might be something, but he's guaranteeing that will never happen.
He's going to work for arrogant America. All right, this is Anthony explaining the opportunity that he had.
He was fired for gross misconduct over at Sirius XM for taking pictures over the top of a shit stall in a bathroom of Roland. So then you're out of the business. He's been doing this, whatever it is, since. And he looks at something like the job I took at ABC as a downgrade, as something like, why would you do it? Goofing on the fact that it's a Sunday night gig on AM radio. I know my position here, but I also know that I have the ability to make something of it. I don't care how small the opportunity is. I'm going to do my best at it and make something of it.
So this is going back to Opie's trying to goof on him for the actual job it is. And the only other person who's doing this is Kevin Brennan, who's just as mentally ill as Opie is. Because Anthony's never bragged about the slot or the money he's making or anything. It was just can you believe it? I was fired persona non grata, and now I'm back on New York City radio. And it's incredible how many people are like, this is amazing. This is a really good sign. It's, for cancel culture, for Anthony Cumia specifically, for radio, all these things, everyone's celebrating it, getting behind it. And Opie just sits there and be like, oh, but how much money is he going to make? And this is the point that we were making. Anthony brings this up.
Every single thing he's done since he was fired from SiriusXM has been an audition for radio, or, in his mind, maybe even some TV thing, but everything. It's why he doesn't curse. It's why he's completely non-confrontational and uncontroversial about everything going on in the world. So if you see any clips of him talking about me, it's just hilarious because he puts the importance on the size of the gig and the opportunity and the money. That was another thing. He's making, I think he blurted something out the other day. One show a week, 2 hours a week. And he starts doing that fake laugh. He's not even making $500 an episode. Now, I have said money was the last consideration in this gig.
Okay. So Opie, that's the only angle he has, is to clown him for the time slot and the amount of money, and he wants it to be embarrassing. Remember on the show the other day, I played the clip where Opie's like, oh, he shouldn't have made a big deal about this because now he has to admit that he's on Sunday nights. Admit, you mean promote. He's going to promote these on Sunday nights so that people know when to tune in and listen to him. Now, this is great because this was been Opie's angle the whole time. Is like, he's not making any money. It's not a good job. This is actually a hilarious story about Anthony kind of reveals what he's getting paid at WABC. This is fascinating.
And he had to keep saying that he's making, at the most, he's not even making $500 a show. Truth be told, when I was in the meeting up in New York, I was given a number, and it's one show. So the number I was given, I assumed, I swear to you, I'm not going to say what the number was, but I assumed it was a per show number. It just sounded like that. Sounded like this is what we can pay you. And then he said a number. And I thought that number was per show. I get my contract and I read through it very meticulously. And I see the part of the contract that says compensation. And I see that the number he gave me that I thought was a per episode number was the yearly salary.
Now that's hysterical. What number could that be? $5,000? What would be like? What could they be paying him annually that he thought was a per episode amount?
Opie doesn't all take this as a cue that being sincere and honest is entertaining, or at least engaging.
Yeah. I found this so fascinating. I thought it was hilarious the way he told this story about how little he's making. Like that's a pretty funny anecdote.
Yeah.
I'm actually making 1/52nd of how much I thought I was going to be making at this job.
And it shows you that he's an artist and a broadcaster, and Opie is not, because
Opie's like, why would he waste his time doing that? And he's like, I love this. This is what
because
I
I love
to do.
doing it, and I have something to say.
Right. And there was a time when Opie was on college radio and interning, and that's all he ever wanted to do. And he can't remember that that's what it's supposed to be.
And he's showing you by example and admitting what you were talking about, Opie. He said, well, I assumed I was worth a whole lot more. I guess I was wrong. Anyway, I love to sing, so I'll do the show. Like,
it reminds me of Aaron Imholt, who says, if we're not making money, I'm not doing this show for free. I'll just go work a job and you'll never see me again. And I've always said this was my hobby and now it's my job. And I will continue to do this for as long as I'm having fun doing it. Because that's the whole point of all of this. And Opie's missing the point. And so Anthony also announced that his first guest in studio when he's in New York on April 13th will be Jim Norton, which is hilarious. You're going to have Ant and Jim back together. So people are asking Opie about that. Of course, Opie has no comments. Good for them. I don't care. It doesn't matter. And he explains why he even discusses Anthony Cumia.
Coming in. All right. Thank you, Ray. I don't know what to tell you. If you guys don't bring up Anthony, watch what happens. Watch it. Wait, he's not talking about Anthony anymore. Yeah, no shit.
So Opie just admitted he has no control over his own show's format. over the content of his own show. He has no control whatsoever. Just whatever people are talking about, that's the show.
It's the weather. It's a thing that happens to him.
Yes, right. Like, what a fucking idiot. The whole reason why this is a big deal is because all you've been doing is putting out clips about what an asshole Anthony is for years, but especially in the last few months. And so Anthony has a big announcement. They're like, what do you think about this? I don't want to talk about that.
Right.
It's so obvious that he's hurt.
It's the only topic you might be an expert on, or that people would want to hear your opinion about, and it's the only thing you say you don't want to talk about. But you still talk about it. You're playing all sides, and it's just incredible to watch happening in real time.
It's taking the high road without even getting close to the high road, nowhere near it, but saying that you're there.
And by the way, his idea of doing non-offensive, middle-of-the-road material is to show up at a Mexican mechanic's place and joke about ICE and claim you're going to call ICE. Is that your not having an opinion on social issues? That's
so
your
out of
comedy.
it.
Yeah, but other people are racist.
Right. He's a dumb guy, Greg Hughes. He's a really unintelligent guy.
It's a Prince Joffrey thing or a King Joffrey thing where they're just so isolated up in their tower. They have no idea what's going on with real people. But the real tragedy is they think they know. And that's why they're kind of dangerous.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's the Dunning-Kruger thing. So Anthony comes on his show yesterday and has a big announcement that he's going to read the press release.
Red Apple Audio Networks. This is the syndication company that is owned by the owner of WABC, and they have 388 stations nationwide. The networks moves quickly to respond to market demand for the syndication of the Anthony Cumia show. It's been less than 48 hours. I did the show Sunday night from 8 to 10. Syndication now.
Is that impressive? I hope you're going to revisit this. It's funny. I mean, we'll get to his reaction on this in a second, but you would think he'd be like, all right, well, that's something. What's great are these numbers because it shows how stupid Opie is. We were playing the clips on here of Opie going, man, Anthony should not have made a big deal about this because now everyone can see what a failure is. He's on Sunday nights for 2 hours and he was talking this up like it was a big deal. He's back at WABC and now look at how embarrassing this is for him. Well, turns out talking it up and getting publicity for it was the smartest thing Anthony could have done.
They're moving at lightning speed to syndicate the Anthony Cumia show in response to demand from radio stations across the country. Cumia's triumphant return to radio on 77 WABC last Sunday, 8 to 10 Eastern time, sparked a flurry of inquiries about syndication from these various stations that are on the network. Digital statistics from the show's debut demonstrated the popularity of Anthony Cumia with listeners. Streaming figures skyrocketed 236% over the previous Sunday. So that's pretty good. 236%. The podcast download shot up 67%. WABC radio app usage went through the roof at a phenomenal 96.7% over the previous show last Sunday. The website traffic rose 82%. 77 WABC tweets around the show premiere generated 340,000 listener interactions. So I guess they saw that, and a lot of the other stations on the network were like, what the are we doing?
It's miraculous. What has happened here? Did one kind of like a test show kind of thing. Because we've talked about this. Anthony's come out and said he wants an afternoon gig. He wants to do middays on this radio station. But he's like, I'll take what I can get. I'll prove myself. And boy, did he. By getting a ton of people streaming this, listening to it on the AM dial. Numbers up huge. And this is the fun.
This is what we were talking about earlier. This is what Anthony's been doing the whole time. And WABC has an older audience that's not necessarily active online. They're listening to the radio. But he has a slightly younger audience and Dabble people and people all over that are hitting that app, that are finding the other ways, that are, remember when 6 people tweet at Stevie Tomatoes, and Stevie Tomatoes is like, hey, something's got to change. We're getting bombarded over here, right?
Yeah, we made the phone call from the creep off. They're like, all right, this is too many phone calls.
They're not used to that kind of attention.
Right.
Anthony retweets WABC. All of these people start hitting WABC. They're like, holy shit, this is what we're trying to do. Anthony has something to offer them. Not Opie, who's like, okay, what do you have for me?
Yes.
Wow me.
Right.
He brings something to the table besides a name from 10 years ago.
And the other stations, there's like 380 stations in this network, are all going, holy shit, we want that kind of buzz going. We haven't had anyone talking about our station in decades.
There's an intern or a 20-something-year-old social media director of WABC that's tasked with how are you going to make Roger Stone likable to the younger generation.
Right.
And she's looking at this and she's just pulling her hair out. And he comes in and she's like, there it is. He's got that thing. They're all now using the app. They're all checking out the websites. This is great. He solved a problem for them.
This is hilarious because I could tell that, Anthony's very happy with getting the job and now the syndication deal and being able to reach a lot more people with his message and talk to these people and engage. But he also is really loving the fact that this is driving Opie crazy. And here's proof of that.
And then, the little bio. Cumia has a long history on radio beginning in 1994 with one half of the Opie and Anthony show. And I do enjoy that the press release says Opie and Anthony in it. Not for any reason you might think. Many, many years ago, when you signed up for a Google, your Google address, Google email, whatever it is, you could sign up for, if there's a press release, if there's a news story with someone's name in it, you can put that in and you'll get alerts. You'll get alerts as to the release. And I know I've always had Opie and Anthony in my alerts. I see it all the time, especially now It's in there. I'll hit it and go, oh, Anthony is from the Opie and Anthony show is over at WABC Radio. Someone else also has that in their alerts, so they get every single press release. And the ones of late are probably not the ones he wants to see.
I love that. He's like, I know there's a Google alert set up, and every time Opie and Anthony is in an article online, because I have this set up for WATP and for the Isotope, so I see this shit too. That's got to be driving him crazy.
It really hammers home the similarities between John and Opie at this point, because John had Sirius XM promoting his name, his comedy, and his act, and his charm.
Right.
24/7. And he looked at that and said, that's my enemy. How do I get rid of that and make that stop?
Right.
All of a sudden, Opie and Anthony are making news, and you're like, how do I remove my name from this? I want nothing to do with this. This is the worst thing to ever happen to me.
Everyone's searching, what is Opie's reaction to this? And they find the video, and Opie's like, I didn't even watch it. I don't care. I can't be bothered.
That was his take. I mean, what if a news outlet actually wanted his take, and they tuned into that, and they're like, he says he doesn't care.
Yeah, can't watch it. So then Opie comes on his show after this announcement. So this is from this morning. And I don't know why he reads this chat. I think it's a free chat, too.
If you weren't so bitter, angry, and miserable, maybe some of your old coworkers would help you out. As it stands now, you'll be hanging by your belt in your bedroom closet within weeks. Jesus. Why is that, Voices of Misery? You're a weird dude. You're a weird dude. I'm exactly where I want to be. Oh. What a weirdo. You're a weirdo.
As soon as B. Anthony has the next count up there, your wife is in shambles. Why are you bringing these things up on the screen? Why are you reading them? And why are you pretending your life is exactly where you want it to be? It's not.
That's insane.
It's obviously not.
If I read this in a funny voice, it'll go away. What the fuck?
You'd be hanging by your belt. You're like, that's crazy.
I won't be in my bedroom closet.
Yeah, I got better places to hang myself. I've scoped it out.
I'll be at the beach house.
It's there was some person, I don't know who they are, but they keep hitting me up on different media, and they're concerned about Opie. They really are just an old Opie and Anthony fan that are watching him being like, I know you guys are joking and it's funny, but this guy isn't doing well and you need to really understand this. And I gotta say, I agree with them. This is your buddy who just got kicked out of the band or just got divorced or lost all his money gambling, and you turn to him and he's like, I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. I'm giving you no signs of being bothered. I am cool. In fact, I'm going to go get a new car. And that's when he walks away, and you turn to your buddies, and you're like, he's going to kill himself. He's going to kill himself. This is not how you process something like that. Even Anthony can be like, I am not making the money I thought I was. He can't even for a second say, man, that would really help this podcast if I could promote it on the radio. He can't even say that.
Well, remember, Anthony makes this announcement, and Opie immediately is in attack mode. Oh, he's not going to make any money. He says he's making money. He's not going to, it's a part-time gig. It doesn't mean anything. So now that this news comes out about syndication, Opie has to change his tune on this.
Oh, Anthony just got syndicated after one show. When are you getting syndicated? I don't compete with Anthony. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, I made a decision a very long time ago when Anthony blew up the Opie and Anthony show because he's a terrible person. I didn't blow up the Opie and Anthony show. He did. If he could have tamped down his racist crap, which he will now do for WABC, because the one thing I know about Anthony is that he plays to the room.
A couple things here. First off, Anthony didn't get fired for being racist on the air. It was over tweets. So for Opie to say that, like, oh, I'm sure now he's going to be on his best behavior on WABC. Well, he never did anything on Sirius that got him suspended or fined or anything like that. So
that was a funny thing to say. He wasn't racist at the radio station. He was racist in the privacy of his own home.
You're right. I remember the time
distinction.
I remember the time being blown away. I'm like, how can you lose your job on Sirius for something that you posted on Twitter? It doesn't even make sense to me.
I've never once heard Opie mention. I didn't even know about it until afterwards. I never once heard him mention his taking pictures of people while they're going to the bathroom.
Right.
He doesn't bring it up ever as having anything to do with what happened, and it did have to do with his downfall. You have to admit it.
Yeah, we heard Anthony talking about how he's taking photos of Roland or video while he was shitting. But also, for Opie to be on here, and now his story is, I don't compete with Anthony. First it was, I wouldn't even want that job. I wouldn't even entertain that offer to go on WABC. Oh, now he's syndicated into 300 markets. What? I don't compete with them. You don't compete with anyone. That's the problem here. You're not in the game. I think that's what people are trying to point out to you, is that your former partner is in the game and you're not. But remember, Anthony's a bad guy. That's the only thing we need to know.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Refresh my memory. He also says, I made this decision a long time ago because Anthony's a terrible person.
Yes.
When was that decision made, per se? Because these guys used to hang out with their girlfriends or wives at one point. So
Sure.
they were buds.
A long time ago, yep.
Yeah. And then he was happy about the Thanksgiving or Christmas messages he was getting.
Well, before that, so Anthony gets fired, and Opie comes on the air and he goes, I had nothing to do with this. I didn't want him to get fired. This is all terrible. It shouldn't have happened. And then Anthony starts up Compound Media. They started doing cross shows because Opie was in the afternoon and so was Anthony. So they would do each other's shows at the same time in simulcast, where they would they did it like 7 or 8 times.
So Anthony wasn't a terrible person yet.
He was still talking to him.
Okay.
But he made a decision a long time ago to never talk to him again because he's such a horrible person.
And by the way, we've listened to Anthony talk about Opie a lot and do a lot of psychoanalyzing and a lot of judging and criticizing. He has never said he's a terrible person.
No, he's tried to help him.
Yep.
Yeah, Opie's just, when somebody says that about their ex, they're not over it.
Right.
It was like John talking about how 40 years later, and he's bitching about Artie's material in a bar in Florida. It's
Strangers.
like,
Yep.
Get over it. Come on. This is
that's still what's on your mind. That's crazy.
The fact that both Opie and John have put themselves in a position where they're known for one thing, and if that one thing has any success, it hurts them.
Yep.
That is a prison. You're defining yourself by this thing that wants nothing to do with you and that secretly destroys you inside when it succeeds. That's a nightmare.
Yeah, he's not in a good place, I would say. He's not surrounded by friends in the industry or former coworkers. None of them want anything to do with him. The only guy he's got is Tim Sabian, who will talk to him. And his whole thing with Tim Sabian is build me a studio in the basement of Gebhard's and I'll be on your new network with that. And Tim's just like, why would I do that? That's a terrible idea. But as I said, when this announcement first happened, it wasn't about Anthony was a terrible guy. It was a terrible deal and he wasn't making any money. But now that maybe money's coming in, he has to change his tune.
So if you're happy for Anthony, you're a fan of Anthony, you're excited for his big return, you're excited that he's now having his 2-hour show syndicated, which is that's not really a big deal because isn't he being heard on an app and on the internet anyway through his ABC show? Whatever. There's no jealousy here because he's not in my life. I chose a long time ago to not have anything to do with the guy because I don't think he's a good person. I think he's a terrible person if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, we know. We get it.
You don't sound jealous at all, Opie.
I mean, does he even have that many listeners? Maybe he does. But either way, he's a jerk. So who can possibly care?
The amount of mental gymnastics he's going through, just like John, they don't mind coming off as a total liar if it means they can say something mean about their enemies. For the last however many days, every day, you've been talking about how there's no audience there. There's no reach. So the second he gets syndicated, you're like, well, there was so much reach already there. What does it even matter? That's not
right. There's already an app. That was the same dumb shit that Kevin Brennan was saying after he got syndicated. Just like, well, so is Ray DeVito. He's on YouTube. He's everywhere too. It's like, it's completely different. Yes, anyone in the world can watch Ray DeVito, but every single person has chosen not to. So that's very different.
And the fact that they don't realize that there is irony, that they're both talking about how they would never want that while broadcasting to less than 100 people is insanity. That's what I love so much. That's the part that makes me happy.
Fun.
They think we don't even see them there. They're just invisible. I'm going to close this blind real fast.
Yeah, go for it. I'm going to play this clip of Opie just losing control completely of his show and his chat because a person comes in with a super chat posing as his wife.
Let me know. Mrs. Spuds Buckley gave me $5. All right. And now you go after my wife. That's cute.
I mean, Opie really has zero control. So they put, my real name is Lindsay. I just slept with Anthony. And you know why? Because I've had it with your ranting every morning. Plus Anthony's cock is huge. And we just puts it up on his screen because he's a fucking moron. He really needs a producer more than anyone.
I'll do it.
All right. Chris has put his hand in the right. What does it pay, Opie?
I would watch the show that is him arguing with his producer about the show.
Yes.
And never need to watch the actual show, just the prep talks. Where he's
This
like,
is-
wow me, Chris, wow me. What do you got?
Yeah, right. What are you going to do for me today, Chris?
Well, I got some chats you could read.
All right. This is Opie talking about how he's ready for his shot on the radio.
If Anthony asked you to come on his WABC show, would you? Yeah. Well, I can't say what I want to say because we got to keep it nice for everybody. No,
For who?
no.
For who?
I have no desire.
Yep.
None.
So right there, to the exact point that we just heard Anthony make, Opie is still auditioning for a radio job. He's like, oh, you know what I would do with that? I can't say that. It's FCC violation. Yeah, there's no FCC in this. Opie, you go for it. You say whatever the fuck you want, buddy.
We all know that would have been the only interesting thing he said all week long. And
You're
it's
right.
The only thing he kept
and that's the
himself
thing
from.
he stopped himself from saying. Boy. One more clip on here. Opie just bought a new car, and he was trying to make the point they don't have AM in the new cars. I think he bought a Tesla. But his car buying experience proves he's lonely and has no friends.
And Mike gave me the sales pitch when I went on to the dealership, right? And then I told Mike, let's not do the sales pitch thing. Let's get to know each other. Let's talk a little bit. I told him who I was. So he had O&A questions. I had car questions. And we developed a nice relationship.
He became BFFs with his car salesman. He's like, well, what model are you looking for? What kind of features do you need?
Slow your roll.
Do you want to go see a movie with me or what? We can talk about this over French fries at dinner, all right?
Do you want to see the car? We'll get there.
Yeah, you're moving real fast for me here, Mike. We slow you down right now.
And just like John, there is not a chance in the world that person recognized him from O&A without him making it very clear what he used to do.
Yep. Oh, wow. You're on. We got Syndicate? Oh, what markets? Oh, okay, cool.
What are you doing now?
Generic questions. Generic fucking. All right. I have to play this. I was watching Tukey Soup last night. And Tukey went into his Opie impression. And I really appreciate this.
Jay Loiterer 499. How jealous is Opie now? Kumia's new show is now syndicated. I know it's gonna stink. I don't care. I don't care. Why would I care? Why would I care? I have so much going on. I don't even have time to do it, even if I wanted to. I can't do it anymore.
In between all the Joe Matarices, there's a perfect Opie. Every third word is like perfect Opie, and then it goes right to Joe Matarese.
I know. It's hard. Oh, come on, Cardiff. Come on, Cardiff. Okay, it's hard.
Don's right. You need a doggy to cleanse your palate.
Doggy.
There you go.
Doggy. Yeah, you're right.
I think that was associate producer Ralph. I don't know if that was Cardiff, but I thought it was a very good Opie impression.
Yes.
I was enjoying it.
It's tough to impress Ralph.
I guess so. I was enjoying that, watching that last
He's
night.
doing a puppet impersonating Opie. There's
Right,
two
he's still
things going
doing
on
his
there.
Tukey voice, but Tukey tried to do
Cardiff
Opie.
Ralph can back off a little. It's a lot going on there. While he's working the mouth, he's doing a lot.
There's a lot going on. If you ever subscribe to his channel, I recommend it because he has some videos of showing a camera angle of him on shows with us, like This Little Piggy and shit.
Oh.
Where it's Rocco working the puppet and also his mouse. He's hosting the show and he's pulling up clips and he's doing all this. Just like, wow, that's some juggling act.
He's got cymbals strapped to his knees.
Yeah, he's doing it all. Speaking of doing it all, review girl Annie is in the house. What's up, Annie?
Hey. Oh, hello.
Oh, hello. Cardiff has abandoned us, but you're here. And we do have a game. Let me get caught up on couple chats that came in real quick, and then we'll play 2 minutes with Tom Myers. the 9th edition of that. And guys,
That
thank you
game
for
is
supporting
hard.
the show. Yeah, this game is tough. Who won this past week? Was it Andy? Andy was the one who was able to figure it out. David R. Fuller, $5 says, how ironic that the last thing Opie will ever touch is the outer casing of that window. Well, second to last thing. I see what you did there. So you don't like the belt theory is what you're saying. Go One, $5 says, Opie stopped saying cheers after you guys clowned him. He watches and is aware of everything. He just pretends he could care less and is above it all.
I could have sworn he gave WABC.
He did, yes. You're right. Now, of course, that's from the from Howard
But-
Stern, and yeah.
I don't. That doesn't come up a
keeping
lot.
We're keeping it alive. That is very true.
He's the one who kept saying dabble and wahapa.
Yes. Oh, he's definitely aware, and he
Mhm.
talks about us a lot lately. The basement show,
Low
level streamers. I mean, they're doing better than me.
You'd think he'd learn something. They have more numbers than I do. Maybe we can work together.
He can't be bothered.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, for supporting the show. We appreciate it. The super tip system is still available, supertip.gg/WATP to participate in the show and to contribute to it. We do appreciate that very much so. Let's get into this game of 2 minutes with Tom Myers.
It's time for everyone's favorite new game show. 2 minutes with Tom. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to fumble a joke?
Hacker!
I read an interview with the billionaire financier Warren Buffett. In this interview, he admitted that he drinks 5 cans of Coca-Cola a day. 5 cans of Coca-Cola a day. That means...
What did Tom say next? Here are your choices. Number 1, being rich must be a cure for diabetes. I'm doomed. B, he's literally the only billionaire that doesn't make hand quotes when talking about his coke habit. Next, if he ever eats an entire roll of Mentos, his head will skyrocket. Or, he's consuming less sugar a day than any member of Honey Boo Boo's family. And lastly, his piss must be what they make Mountain Dew out of. 2 minutes with Tom.
All right, here's my take on this. Next and 4 are both way funnier than anything Tom would come up with.
Yeah.
If it is those, I'll apologize to Tom if it's one of those two.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Props to Cardiff. That's very good. I'm going to go with lastly, even though that might be too clever too. His piss must be what they make Mountain Dew out of. I'm sticking with it. Lastly,
You are locked in.
Adam, what do you say?
I'm gonna go with or, but only because I don't know. When Cardiff speaks slowly, I have a hard time focusing. I tend to just drift away, but I try to pay attention as best I could.
What's or?
4, I think.
Oh, he said 4. I think he said or. I'm like, Jesus, there's a lot of confusion going
Don't
on.
give Cardiff any ideas, all right?
It was 4.
Yeah, okay.
All right, Annie?
I'm gonna go with shape 1 because it's the only one with like 2 punchlines, and that's Tom style.
That was the one I almost changed mine to. Being rich is a cure for diabetes. I'm doomed. Yeah, I could see that. What do you think, producer Chris?
This is good. I went B.
Okay.
We got a shot at this.
All
So
right.
no one took next.
Correct.
Okay. Because that one made me laugh.
No.
I read an interview with the billionaire financier Warren Buffett. In this interview, he admitted that he drinks 5 cans of Coca-Cola a day. 5 cans of Coca-Cola a day. That means if he ever eats an entire roll of Mentos, his
Oh.
head's gonna skyrocket.
Holy shit! Tommy!
Tom, we owe you an
Tommy,
apology.
you're the king, baby! Diet Coke and Mentos joke.
I read that.
I can't believe
That's
it.
all for this.
I can't believe it either. I can't believe Cardiff beat us too. It's fucking annoying.
And it wasn't even Diet Coke.
It wasn't Diet Coke.
For those who are just listening, you should take a look at that clip, because if you asked AI to auto-generate, white comedian or from the 80s or even just Tom Myers, that's what it would be. It's the most generic anyway. It just says, it's all black, and it just says comedy club behind his head in white. And he's wearing all black, and it's just this floating,
You wouldn't
head.
believe it was true.
Yeah. And the way he paces, he doesn't take in the audience at all. So it's just like random walking that's not motivated in any way. It really is like a computer-generated bad comedian.
I read that.
That's all for this time. Come back next time to find out if you can find the bomb playing 2 minutes with Tom. Brought to you by Hackamania.com, promo code COME. Hackamania is happening this May 9th to 11th in Las Vegas, Nevada. Go to Hackamania.com right now and get your tickets using promo code COME to save 10%. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, Hackamania.com. And if you use any promo code other than COME, you paid too much. Sit, Eugene,
It's not
sit.
true.
Good dog.
Gaslighting.
I know. Just simply not true, Cardiff.
I just learned I've been spelling cum wrong.
Why does he do this every time to me? His video starts up again. All right. Well, he got it in. I appreciate that. I should mention Dabble House is coming up in a month. April 11th and 12th. We'll be doing live podcasting from a content house in Florida with the Uncle Rico Show, and WTP crew will all be there doing these shows. Go to dabblecon.live to learn more and to get tickets. We have a film contest, film festival. A lot of people make some awesome stuff in the Dabbleverse. So we're going to give someone a shot. $500 is going to be the prize. You will win. And I think we're going to have people vote on it. So we're going to have everyone who's watching can then vote. And someone's going to win $500 for the best film. We ask you to keep it under 4 minutes if possible. And the theme is, you don't have to go with this theme, but the theme is Stuttering John's return to the Dabbleverse. So if you want to make a film around that, any style will do. We're looking forward to doing that. We do have an email address. Oh, shit. I probably should have written this down in my notes ahead of time so that I knew what it was. I'll look it up. I'll look it up in a minute.
I'm just going to submit the end of the movie Rudy.
Yes.
Just bless.
Perfect. And you know what? The other beauty of what we're doing with the pay-per-view stream is there are no terms of service. We're going to do shit you cannot do on YouTube because we could play the end of Rudy. We could play all of Rudy if we wanted to. We're not going to.
We could play football in the groin.
Right.
Oh, that has football in the groin.
This guy gets it.
It's going to be a fun time for sure. So check that out. Dabblecon.live. Annie, you have a website as well.
Yeah, it's insanity.com. That's INSANNEITY. You can check out everything I'm working on. In fact, in about 30 minutes, I'm going live with the second part of my Disco Elysium review. Check it out.
Awesome. Well, we will check that out, Annie. Thank you for being here. Do you have any new reviews that you can read for us today?
Unfortunately, no. It seems like they've slowed down again, or people forgot what the rules are. Maybe you need to explain it to them again.
Yes,
just make some up, Annie. You can just show up with something. Jeez.
Please
No,
go to
I'm
Apple
not dishonest.
Podcasts.
I've never made up a review.
Go to Apple Podcasts or wherever you review podcasts and leave us a review. Give us 5 stars, of course. That's good for the algorithm and everything. But then shit all over us in the comments section. And then Annie or one of our other review girls reads them. We try to figure out if it's a 5-star or how many stars it is because it can get confusing.
I'm about to go sock hop crazy. I'm going to fill that shit up.
Nice. Yeah, make sock accounts. Go nuts with it. It helps the algorithm. We
I'm
appreciate
going to
that.
ask Lady Gaga why she hasn't done the show.
That's the Howard Stern strategy. I like it. Although she was just on Stern this week.
Yeah, it
What a
worked.
great- what a great
all
show.
that, all that making fun of John did, and it all worked. Everything he wanted.
What a great show that is. You can send in your films to WTPshow@gmail.com. I'll figure out the email address. We'll get that official. We'll put that up somewhere. Forgot about that aspect of it. All right, voicemails. People, you guys call in. You go to whoarethese.com. You find our voicemail number. This is your chance to get on the show and tell us what you're thinking. Cow photographer.
Hey, cow photographer. I'm a veteran. You know what you don't have to do as a woman in the military? You don't have to shave your head like that. That's just something girls do to be one of the boys, you know? So some retard probably dared her. She probably lost a bet. That's probably what actually happened while on deployment. It's a bad look. It's not a good look. I hope her husband is okay with that because he's going to file for divorce when she comes back. If not, bye.
All right, it's cow photographer Vic's ex, and Vic, of course, our first ever review girl who then joined the Navy and recently got a pretty bad haircut. So we got some inside information from cow photographer. Here's a question for me.
Carol, why are you gay? Why are you gay?
Right.
Why are you gay? Okay, 40 seconds left. Okay, Carl, why are you gay? I was told by a anonymous source, we'll call him producer Mitch, that you are gay. Okay, just do it.
You don't have to make it 45 seconds. That's just the limit.
Rock and roll it.
Rock and roll it to you.
Oh, so you're not going to answer the question?
No, this is not my AMA. All right. You have to join our Patreon to find out why I'm gay.
What have you got against gays?
Gary in San Diego.
Hey, Carl. Do you remember a few weeks ago, John said he had a new girlfriend? And it was a bonus because the new girlfriend was an attorney. You remember that?
I do.
I do. And he implied because the girlfriend was an attorney, he was going to start filing more and more cease and desist and lawsuits, basically against Lady K and the shitware. You were his two main targets anyway, you and Shuley. So my question is, have you received any cease and desist from Stuttering John? Have you received any lawsuits from Stuttering John?
Not.
I'm assuming he's still got that same girlfriend, although he only talked about her one time. One time. So maybe they broke up. What do you think? Can you give us any updates? I wish that Stuttering John would stop smacking, by the way. He's getting worse all the time. He's even doing it on his Boca Box stage show. He was smacking.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Rock and rolla.
Rock and rolla.
Adam, do you have a thought for
Yeah, Gary sounds like somebody who doesn't know what coming down the pike means. And I think you should respect that timeline.
Right.
And the
It
other
takes
thing,
time.
for it.
Wait for it.
It's
think
a long
he's
pike.
Being a little impatient. And also, I know for a fact that the attorney girlfriend of his lives in Florida and owns an AM station and is in talks with Aaron Himmelholt to have him do a talk radio station.
my
So
God.
everybody's
It's all
dreams are
happening.
coming true at just the most amazing time. It's like Christmas all over again.
You would think that Aaron got a job on radio based on the way he's been talking about this Anthony thing. He's just like, oh, well, now we're all going to get jobs on the radio again.
They're just handing them out.
Yeah, they can't wait.
And he thinks we believe it.
Yep.
It's fun to live vicariously through Anthony, I
It
guess.
is. Yep. Here's a fun voicemail.
Balls.
Pretty good stuff. Fun fact, my first words ever as a person were ball and happy.
So I think you answered the question.
There you go. Now we know. Hey! Guitar Center guy calling in.
Hey, Carl. It's the Guitar Center guy. I see your infatuation with gay rap and parody, so I got another good recommendation for you. Old Town Hole by Kuso Rare in Dicko Mode by the same artist. Those bops, they go pretty hard. And if you want to hear more from me, check out the Master the Allegations Against Carl Heberger podcast out tomorrow.
Oh,
Episode
no.
1. 35 seconds. Bye.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Guitar Center guy's turning on me?
At 2:31 p.m.
He turned on me. I do have that parody. I just realized it's probably for WATS, though. That's where we play things like that on WATS, so I'll do that.
Yo, this message is for Carl at WATP. Yo, I'm all for government efficiency. I think the point about Rick Scott is that he was the CEO of a company that was charged with the largest fraud in history at $1.7 billion. So it's kind of comical that he oversees Medicare, Medicaid, all of that right now, and he defrauded it out of almost $2 billion. But anyways, who am I to say what is right and what's wrong? But yeah, all right, fuck you, bye.
Well, thank you for pointing that out. Why,
We can all agree it's funny.
Yeah, we can all agree that it's on. Saying that he should be on Alive is a great bit.
I was wondering if you're going to cover Anthony's dud of a first fucking show, you fucking cock. Come on, Kyle, give it to the boss, baby.
Nah, I couldn't be bothered to listen to it, sir. Don't know what to tell you.
But I can tell you my opinion on it, even though I haven't seen it.
Right. It's amazing. It's the greatest thing ever. Boner guy was going after me last week. He's saying, go Chiefs. He's saying all sorts of crazy shit.
Go Bills. We can be friends again, Carl. You're the hardest working man in podcasting.
Thank you.
I pretty much love and watch everything you do, which is why I don't watch Who Are These Broadcasters. Apart from, I'm sort of wondering about this little piggy. Don't get me wrong, the theme tune and animation are fabulous, but when it comes to Aaron, I just kind of find him to be some sort of like geeky jerk-off figure. I'm not really that interesting, and I was wondering... But then I remembered your birthday present, the bird table with integrated camera that Jen had got you, and how happy that had made you, and it all fell into place. You love to watch a CD, don't you? That's why you make that show. Anyway, everyone should vote for Carl at thecreepoff.com. Really looking forward to Wednesday's show. Adam Busch, always on point. Keep it up, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Boner guy. Did anyone understand that?
I thought he said the queef off.
Okay.
What it sounded like.
I wasn't following that either.
No, I couldn't get it.
You remember that the Christmas gift I got was that bird feeder.
Yeah.
With the camera in it.
I heard something about a table. Okay, I was confused.
All right. Well, I'm glad we made up, though. That's good.
Yes.
Joe from Pennsylvania checking in.
Hey, everybody. It's Joe from Pennsylvania. And I say I'm from Pennsylvania because I don't want to be Gary from San Diego. That sounds like a fate worse than death. I just figured there's a lot of Joes, and you guys might get confused. And I know you guys want to keep things to 45 seconds on the call, but what can I talk about for 45 seconds on the voicemail? 45 seconds. Well, I can ask Chris a question.
Chris has to
I can
pee.
ask
Let's go.
Andy a question. I could ask Jenny a question. I could ask Carl a question. I could ask Cardiff a question. I could ask Tukey a...
All right. Well, he did
I think
call
they're
back.
starting the banter segment on the voicemail segment now.
Yes. He did call back and figured it out.
Hey, it's Joe from Pennsylvania again. I figured out a question to ask, and it's a question for Adam Busch. And it's a question I'm almost certain that Carl has asked him dozens of times off air, and that would be, what does Allison Hannigan smell like? Take as much time as you want, talk as slow as you want, and I'm going to start recording now.
Good question.
Now.
You ever step into fresh snow?
Oh, yeah.
And you hear that little and it kind of smells like life is starting over and everything is possible.
And it's
like
also
that.
squishy.
Yeah, a little bit. She smells like that.
That old chestnut.
Coach Weekly says, Annie rules, F me or fight me, bro.
Why not
F me or fight me too.
And Spencer coming in on the super tip system.
If I had a nickel for every time I threatened a lawsuit, I'd be able to afford toothpaste.
Well, you'd be able to afford multiple toothpastes. Even name brand, for being honest about it.
Hey, Carl, Wednesday listener here. Just wanted to let you know that the Saturday listeners can go fuck themselves. What do they got over us? We've got Adam Busch. We've got amazing program stuff on the Wednesday show. This is a war between the Wednesday listeners and the Saturday listeners. Fuck those Saturday listeners.
Oh, no, I don't want to start this. This is what
No,
Aaron
he's got a
Immelt
point.
has.
He's speaking a lot of truth.
No,
I like
this is what Aaron Immelt does. He's 6 in
getting
the
a little
morning
cocky
crowd
over the
versus the evening crowd. And I want everyone to get along here.
No, I want to be like John and racially profile everyone in the audience and decide who's an enemy and who's with me.
Carl, could you give me a little bit more specifics, details on how to swat someone? You were almost there, but you didn't quite get to the end.
Right.
Also, completely unrelated, but can I have your address? Just have Chris call me back.
All
Thanks.
right. That's too much. We don't need that kind of heat around here. Oh, this is interesting observation.
Carl, keep this cat fight going between Jenny Jingles and Lucy. I can see what's going on. The tops are getting lower, tighter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they're saying off camera, but obviously they're not getting along, so don't break it up. Pretty soon they'll be in bikini tops. Deluxe out.
Oh, yeah. They're fighting over the listeners' attention.
They're saying, you do the news. No, you do the news.
I did the news last week.
Bitch.
This guy seems like he has a problem.
Well, if I crap my pants, I won't forget about them.
Good voicemail. Making a lot of good points.
Mm-hmm.
S, member for 11 months, says, still waiting for any picks, so I have a reason to resubscribe on Patreon, too. Oh, they're coming. Annie, when's the photo shoot? Coming up? You got it scheduled?
We'll figure it out.
Beautiful. Sign up on patreon.com/wherearethespodcasts. Last voicemail. This is a guy, I think, doing a Carl impression.
Oh.
And I'm not usually keen on these. I think that Tukey's impression to me is good.
He's leading the pack so far.
Chad sucks, but you guys tell me what you think about this.
Producer Chris, I was talking to Vito Gesualdi. Vito Gesualdi. I was having an espresso martini with Vito Gesualdi. Vito Gesualdi. Vito Gesualdi is a mini Bugini. Vito Gesualdi. Just do it.
Yeah, that's why I think it's an impression to me.
Oh.
Because of the just do it at the end.
He nailed it at the end. He stuck the landing. I wasn't
Yes.
sure. But then, boom, that was perfect.
Yeah, started strong, ended strong. That's all you need for an impression like that. All right, we got to get out of here. Adam, so great to talk to you, buddy.
Can I hold you hostage with one quick story here?
Of course.
Real fast. Chris,
Yeah.
bear with me here. We spent a lot of time talking about Eric the actor and comparing him to people we study now.
Yes.
And one of the biggest themes that I think anybody who followed Eric's story was that he had one joy, and that was really appearing on the Howard Stern show, and his parents hated it.
Yeah.
Kind of like Opie's in-laws. Like, they just didn't believe in it. They thought this was the devil, and they thought their son was being corrupted. And this was an ongoing thing that really actually tortured Howard a lot, because he wanted to believe he was doing something nice for this guy and giving him a world, but his parents just never. They tried to get him to move, to go to that boathouse, to keep him away from having contact to the internet, and it was the anniversary of his death, and somebody wrote on his Facebook, I've always wondered how Eric's parents have felt about his fame now that he's gone. They really sounded like they didn't like it while he was alive. And Eric's mother responded, and she said, we really had no idea how big a deal he was because we wouldn't listen to Howard Stern. We didn't really want him involved with Stern, but as the years went by, we began to appreciate how it gave something for Eric to make him feel worthwhile and to give him more confidence in himself. We liked that. And then to see after he was gone how he was loved and had helped people through some tough times in their own lives. I do have regrets at times that we didn't support him more.
That's incredible.
Unbelievable.
How would they not know how big of a deal it was? He was getting on TV shows and shit. Like, the Howard Stern show opened a lot of doors for that guy.
They thought it was, I think they're religious people. They hear he's like, remember at that time, Andrew Dice Clay and Howard Stern were like the devil.
Right.
The parents were told this is going to corrupt your kids. And after all those years, and she's wrestling with it right now, and she's responding, and she's never before. It's an interesting time, and things are really changing, and it's wonderful to be alive, and I'm very grateful to be here on the show with people to talk to about this bullshit.
We are grateful to have you on this show, and that's actually, I think, a feel-good story for them to recognize that that's what gave Eric purpose. We're going to leave things on a good note for once.
For a change.
I gotta go. Bye. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go.
Okay, bye.
This is my impression of producer Chris, who has to pee right now.
Jesus, I gotta go. This is getting stupid. Bye, guys.
A plane has hit. I rewatch iCarly.
Actually, I don't have to go anymore.
Oh, no. That's not good.
Go fuck yourselves. Have a good week.
Do that shit in your studio, not in mine.
Thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Cheers.